Peace, family. We are now live. Whew. Y'all are tuned in for a legendary night. Welcome to everybody. Make sure you hit the like button. Get comfortable. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna have some good conversation, good energy, and we're gonna do some learning. We're gonna do some learning. Definitely do. Yo, KT brought out the suit. KT, give KT a hand. I need y'all to give KT a virtual hand. Show me some hand in the chat room.
We talking about love tonight. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. You know, this is for love right here, man.
Oh man. Listen, man. KT serious about this love conversation. Barbara gave you the hand. Thank you, Barbara.
If I'm gonna dress up for anything, I'm dressing up for love. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed. Yeah, we're gonna have a great shout out to War Moon, photograph him. Shout out to everybody. We're gonna have a great conversation on love. A much needed conversation on love. And not just on a surface level, but on a molecular, chemical level, metaphysical level, quantum. We're gonna touch all the levels, family. We're gonna have a good time. Before I bring on my guest, though, y'all see who's in the building. But before I bring him on, let me get to a few commercials, and we will be right back, family, for a groundbreaking show. Be right back.
Hey there! Had a bad dream? I have dreams too. Some parts are scary and some parts are fun. Always remind yourself, it's only a dream and everything will be okay. I had a dream about being in a forest too. Check it out, my pet Peedy was with me. Order your copy of Kayla, Peedy, and the Forest on Amazon today.
Here, aka Goddess Guru, let me tell you something. When you think about magical people that seem to be manifesting the life of their dreams, those that have enough resources to do what they're called to do, and it just seems like the universe unfolds for them, it's no accident. Many of them are working with supernatural tools. I have created such a tool with my 2023 Angels Unleashed calendar. Go to VickiPlanet.com, buy them by the dozens. Let me see you there.
It's the numerational session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. And get my books on Amazon now.
All right. We are back, family. And without further ado, I want to bring on my brother KT the Arch Screen and Dr. B Sirius. Welcome to the show, my brothers.
Hey, he was good.
Yes.
What's happening?
Hey, it's great to have both of y'all on here together. It's great for us to always show unity amongst each other. And these two brothers have some of my favorite products that I use, that my family uses. I think both of you two gentlemen are doing amazing, extraordinary work in the community. Health is wealth, health is love. When you feel good when you're healthy. And I want to thank you two. And I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing, and that the family is benefiting immensely from both of y'all work. So just keep it up, y'all.
Oh man, thank you very much. Thank you. You know that's reciprocated, Rich.
Yeah. Hey, I was KT got me hooked on some shit. I ain't going there. Got me hooked on this. Dr. B, you gotta try this honey KT got. He got some honey that it's addictive, brother.
What kind of honey you got, my brother?
I got the stingless bee honey that Dr. Sebi talked about all those years ago.
Uh-oh.
I got that original honey.
Okay, all right.
Genetic gatekeepers, them original bees, the Zunan Cobb.
We got to get some to Dr. B, KT.
Oh yeah. I got you. Now, you know I made a mistake, Rich. I was supposed to have something else in your package.
What?
For Sirius. These are the ones I was talking about.
Oh man, I'll get it from you soon.
Yeah, I got you. These are the Spider-Man blue blockers for him.
Oh, he gonna love those.
You know, he gonna go crazy. And then you know, for the older, when they get a little older, I got the Miles Morales blockers too. So
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gonna love that. I'll meet up with you in the next couple of days.
And even got a Spider-Man case to go with it.
Yeah, he gonna love that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he gonna love that. Hey, listen, I wanna we're gonna have a great conversation. Before we start on the conversation, this love conversation, which is extremely important, I want to ask y'all too, because I was watching something earlier, I don't get a chance to watch. I used to be a big basketball fan. I don't get a chance to watch basketball pretty much at all no more. Just, my work schedule and, just things going on. It's not as important to me as it used to be. But I want to ask y'all, since y'all are great in terms of health and in terms of understanding the human body, the NBA players are getting hurt at a rate that is the highest ever. I'm watching Kevin Durant just got hurt. He's practicing before the game. He's just he goes to lay it up, sprains his ankle, out for the rest of the season.
Right.
Luka Doncic, I'm the top 4 players of the NBA is injured right now. They said Skip Bayless was talking, and he said Michael Jordan played 82 games 9 times in his career, and several other years he played 80 plus games. You don't get that at all no more.
No.
Something is happening that they're not telling us about, where the body is breaking down at an extremely faster rate, and the body can't handle what it used to be able to handle. Now, we didn't have the most amazing diet in the 80s and 90s, but what the hell happened from the 80s and 90s to the 2000s, where the athletes are supermen, ain't super no more. They break it down.
Well, what's changed, Rich.
Is it that word that we got banned? Is that it?
Well, that kind of carried everything over. But even before that, being in this blue lit, electrified, super frequency world is totally different than it was back when Jordan was playing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that affects the bones. When you start getting into acidity, you're going to affect the parathyroid hormone, which is going to secrete, the parathyroid, which is going to secrete parathyroid hormone, which is going to stimulate your osteoclast, inside of your bone cells. And what the osteoclast does is it dissolves bones to release calcium ions into your bloodstream to buffer alkalinity, because you can't have the blood get acidic. It's not like blood gets acidic, oh, let me bring it back up. No, it can't go. So the minute that the body knows that there's a bunch of acidity going on in the body, the parathyroid hormone is going to stimulate osteoclast to dissolve your bone so that you have calcium ions in the blood and to buffer and keep that blood alkaline. But if you stay acidic, then that keeps happening. Now you got osteoporosis. And when we watched Avatar, one of the things that made the Na'vi or the Amaticaya stand out was that they had very dense bone structures. You see what I'm saying? We don't have the same bones we used to. That's why everybody is breaking down.
Okay. Dr. B, anything you want to add on to that? Because I'm very curious, because I'm like, this is ruining the NBA essentially.
Well, right now, everything is changing. Everything on the planet and in the universe is changing because of where we are in this space. We're in a new place that we've never been before. So by us being in a brand new place, we're not receiving the same type of light that we were. So right now we're in the photon band. So the photon band is a place, it's a cloud in space, which is emitting these biophotons on a super high density level. So when you're in that cloud, right, which is every 13,000 years we go through that cloud, we received a different type of light. You see, we are a photovoltaic. We're taking light and turning it into electricity, into energy. Your bones help to store electricity. That's why your bones are made of calcium. But with the more light you have, the more water you need, the more hydration. Now, a lot of people don't think of bones as being, vessels for water, but they are, because calcium attracts water, and the bones actually have holes in them that the water has to float through, you see. But the problem right now is the cellular structure is changing on a different level so fast, because we're in this high density cloud. All vibrations are speeding up, so water is speeding up. And if water is not crystallized as a 6-pointed star, the hexagonal shape, right, that star which water should be to be in its perfect shape has to be matched with the key, right? Or actually, the water is the key, but on the outside of every cell, there's a 6-pointed star opening, a gateway, a portal. So unless that water is crystallized and it exact matches that 6-pointed star, then you have dehydration. The average person today is going through dehydration. You could drink 3 gallons of water. It don't make any difference because the water is just going to wait outside the cell because the water is not seeing calcium. It's not seeing the right type of sodium. It's not seeing the right type of the electrolytes. It's not seeing the right energy for it to enter the cell. So water is sitting outside the cell just waiting to get in. Now the body says, look, we got to survive. We got to make it. We just can't die of thirst out here on the desert of life. So it takes a little bit of water, just enough for you to make it. But technically you're drying out. So dehydration, right, will cause your bones to break. Dehydration will cause your cells to atrophy. It will cause your mind to shrink. Your brain needs water. Everything needs water. So the water on the planet, right? Because water on a mass level is being distorted and changed with, you got the 5G, the 4G, the 3G. So we forgot about 1G and 2G. They still got that. We got microwave. We got ultra waves. We got so many different waves hitting the planet. It's causing the water to distort. Right now, the power here is that you are a light bender. We are light benders. We are able to take light and through focus, right, on the right angle, right? Once you reach, check it out. Once you start reaching the arch degree, because when you reach the arch degree, right, the energy is moving in an arch. An arch is an arc, which is a piece of a spiral. You see, so once you hit that spiral on the right angle and you take one small piece of that arc, that arch, right, and you make it sing by focusing the energy on what your desire is. So if your desire right now needs to be hydration. Everybody, I don't care how healthy you think you are. You can eat fruits all day. You know what I'm saying? You can run 9 mountains, drink 20 gallons of water. Unless you're focusing on allowing, right, this water to get into your cells, right, it can't match up with the frequency of the light. And the light right now is so bright, it's actually transforming us. We're having a DNA upgrade, right? But we got to look at, because, we're looking for the downgrade all the time, right? My thing is, we're looking for the down, we say we get downloads. I'm saying, well, what about the uploads? Y'all forgot about that? You're just waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for Santa Claus and waiting for Jesus and Christmas again. You got to be what? Uploading. You got to be sending a message out as a signal, clear and focused into the quantum field that says water, H2O, hydration. You see, now all of a sudden, you may not have to drink a gallon of water. You might be able to drink, 3-4 liters of water. And that water is electrified because as he's drinking that water right now, he's holding it in his right hand and he is sending energy into that water because his name is Arch Degree. So if he's the Arch Degree, then he is focused his intention into that water. The water is crystallized as the water is alive. That is life force water. There's no water in the universe more powerful than the water he just took in. So right now, as soon as it touches his lips, the cellular structure says, oh my gosh, we got water, water, water. And all the cells open up and they begin to drink and the bones become strong.
This ain't, listen, hold up. I asked these brothers about basketball. Did y'all hear the answer I got from these brothers? This ain't fair. Nah, this ain't fair, y'all. If this is how the night is going, let me hold on. Let me readjust myself. If this is how, let me let me clear my throat. Let me straighten up. If this is how the night is going,
hey man, listen. You had to put love as the title. You know what that's going to do.
Oh man. What do y'all think about? We're talking about love, and and when you think about love, you think about God, you think about light, and there's videos going around on Instagram, and there's people that are saying water is God. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the concept or the idea that water? We heard God is the black man, God is the black woman is God. Now it's God is water. What do you think about that concept?
Well, Dr. B Sirius definitely hit the nail on the head in regards to going into the aspect of water, because we always know water as it being in 3 states growing up, liquid, solid, and vapor. But, as we got older, we came to find out that there's another phase of water, the gel state, the super cool state, the plasma state of water, the intelligent side of water. And that's the state of water that our body is in. This is exactly why CMOS is so prevalent with our people, because CMOS gel actually reflects that higher intelligent state of water that's in our body and what our cells reflect on. So when you think about God, right, what's the one thing that is consistent every single day? I speak on it all the time. I say we traded it in for the Son of Man. We traded the Son of God for the Son of Man, basking in the blue light now. Well, when that sun comes up every day, it ain't never took a day off. And what is so special about that sun is the fact that it got unpolarized light. This unpolarized light, when it hits water, it structures water. It gives water that six-sided shape that Dr. B. Sirius was just talking about, you know, because that in essence is what is the basis of life, is water being able to stand up. And the only way water is able to stand up is when it is structured. And the only way it's able to do that is in the electromagnetic field that it resides in. And what provides that electromagnetic field is the light that comes from the sun. So water, in essence, I've been saying as of lately, is like a physical representation of the ether. And the ether is in which all of the fields exist. So when we say electromagnetism and things of that nature, you're talking about perturbations or disturbances within the ether. And that's why when you look at water, water can always be analogous to understanding electricity, understanding magnetism, understanding waves, so forth and so on. But in the expressions on social media, they established a lot of parallels along with God, with water, because, you know, regardless of what height you are, what size you are, what color you are, what organism you are, we all carry water up inside of us. We can't live without water. Water is everywhere where we are not. Water is one thing that binds us all. We can go years without eating. We can go weeks without drinking, but we can go seconds without air. But when we look in the air, we think it's just oxygen. But the air is an Empyrean sea. You see what I'm saying? It's just a less dense version of the ocean. We're swimming just like fish. You know, we just stand upright with it. So no matter how you're able to express what God is from any corner of the globe, you can establish a parallel with water. And we can see that that's something that we all need. You know what I'm saying? You think of even me when I talk about herbs and I'm breaking down all of the decoctions, all of the compounds, we getting deep. We talking about being able to liberate all of these properties and these spirits out of these plants. Well, this can't happen without the universal solvent. You know what I'm saying? Which is water, you know, H2O. The other thing that makes H2O so amazing is the fact that it's a dipole, meaning that it has a positive and a negative end. The oxygen end has a negative charge. The hydrogen end has a positive charge. This is what allows it to be a microscopic antenna and builder for the whole universe, you know? And then when you add an electromagnetic frequency to it, then you start having that positive and negative charge start to align. And this is when you make these six-sided lattices that create form and create structure. Water also stores memory, you know, so all of the water that exists inside of us has information in it, and it continues to provide that information as we go on. I also came across a story on social media where they had a ex, I don't know if he was CIA government agent or something like that. And he was admitting that there are portals all over the earth. So he started describing that there's one in Antarctica that leads to, I think it leads to somewhere in South America. He established about 3 or 4 of them. And what he described the portals as was planes of water. And it wasn't no thing like in Stargate. He said you walk through it, you start seeing a wormhole and lights coming through. You know, he said, no, it's like walking through a door. You walk through it and then you're there. But he established it as being water too. You come in this world through water. When the water breaks, You know, you hovering over the face of the waters, like it talks about Genesis in the Bibles when you're in that womb. You know, whether you're experiencing joy or you're experiencing pain, you're going to shed water from your eyes, whether it be from the corner of your eye or from the back of your eye. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're dealing with your environment, you know, in terms of activity and being able to exemplify motion and the kinetics that establish life itself, you're going to sweat through your pores, you know? And then lastly, as a man, we all know that when we look towards the one we love, we can't wait till that water starts flowing. But, you know,
easy. We ain't get there yet, KT.
No water starts flowing.
Oh man. So let me ask y'all this. We live in an age, it's 2023, so they say that's the year that they're calling it in the Gregorian calendar. We've been around much longer than 2,000 years. We all aware of this, but
for sure.
We're in an age where we are more connected than ever, in a sense that we could get on the internet and talk to somebody anywhere in the world. Simultaneously, we're also in an age where we're the most disconnected because we stopped using certain things we used before technology came about. And that's not necessarily to say technology is bad, but what it is to say is that we don't have as much human contact as we used to have. Now, what I want to ask y'all about, since we're talking about love, and I want to touch it, we're going to touch it in many areas, but on a molecular chemical level, one of the main things KT told me, his mom told me, a lot of the people in the community told me when I had my son with my queen, when we had our first child, they stressed, Dr. Phil Valentine talks about this a lot. They stressed the importance of body to body contact, skin to skin, skin to skin. Yeah. Let's talk about skin to skin, hugging. People don't hug as much as they used to at all. Kissing, people damn sure don't kiss as much as they used to.
Nope.
And touching, people damn sure don't touch each other the way they used to touch each other. So what happens? What is so important about, I'm touching my girl, or I'm body to body with my son, or I'm hugging somebody, or I'm kissing my lady. What happens inside your body that makes these things so important for people that just think there's nothing going on inside? That's just for pleasure,
Oh, that's the autonomic nervous system.
Okay.
At work right there. You know what I'm saying? And that has a lot to do with the connection that you have with your mate, is that you're fulfilling certain aspects in their autonomic nervous system, and they're fulfilling certain aspects for your autonomic nervous system. When you're talking about hugging, you're talking about the secretion of oxytocin. This is a chemical in your pituitary gland. Let me get my big homie over here real quick. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I gotta push his wig back. I don't mean to be so gruesome. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at the brain, right? Just want to open this bad boy up real quick. You go inside, right? So you have the hypothalamus and the pituitary down here, and the hypothalamus and the pituitary are the areas in which certain chemicals are produced. And when you're talking about affection, you're talking about that warm feeling, that heart to heart. Because when you hug, most people don't notice you're lining your hearts up. You don't like just bring somebody in straight. It's usually this way. So your heart on your left is connecting with their heart on their left, and you're creating like a vesica Pisces intersecting your two electromagnetic fields.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So now you're in phase. You're creating electrochemical dance going on inside your body, and this is going to stimulate the production of oxytocin, which is the hormone that's produced that helps mothers bond with their child. It produces their milk. You know what I mean? This is what causes women to fall in love with a man as well. When they're courting with a man, it increases like 51%. But when they have when they make love to that man for the first time, that thing just goes out of space. But we feel oxytocin, you know, not just in regards to our mates, but we also feel it for the ones we love, because there's different types of love. You know, you got the passion and the love that you have for the one that you want to be with, but then you have love for your family, like your mother, you know what I mean, and your brothers and your children, you know, but then you also have love for your peers and your friends. And then you got love for your people and for mankind. And then on top of that, you'll have love for just life in general. You know, you rolling down the street, you're not trying to run over that squirrel. you want homie to get across to the other side of that road. You know what I'm saying? But it's one of the chemicals is called oxytocin, and that is produced, you know what I mean, through the aspect of touch. And that touch that you're feeling is coming from the interaction between your two's autonomic nervous system, which is actually essentially having a chemical electrical dance.
Indeed. All right. Dr. B, you want to add on to that, my brother? Wow.
See, oxytocin is an amazing thing. It's, you know, it's the love hormone, as the brother broke down.
Yeah.
It is also something that is existing in several dimensions at one time. When you are realizing that you're not necessarily here, there's a lens that is focusing this energy through you to have this experience in this body, this avatar, or this space-time. But there are several dimensions that are happening at the same time. So look at it like this. Your ancestors are in your cells. Your ancestors are in your cells. So sometimes they, you know, we do ancestor worship where you're looking at yourself and your cells, because your cells are yourselves, and those selves are inside of you, and you are connecting what families of ancestors together when you come together and you touch through kinesiology. See, touch is the way we send chemicals like ants and bees. That's how they get instructions, through the touch. It's the chemical that is passed between them that gives instructions. Some of us are relating because our ancestors chose to relate or come back through us to have another type of connection in this time-space continuum, right? But when you add in serotonin, because see, you know, everybody's going to get oxytocin through touch. But serotonin is the hormone that says, yes, that's the winner hormone. We did it. We made it. You see, when serotonin and oxytocin get together, you have a whole nother thing happen. You see, a lot of people, they're having their oxytocin. They're having, you know, they're feeling it. Oh, boy, it feels good. I'd like to be touched and held, which is a basic, you know, desire and need of most people. But then, you know, a lot of folks are having a dopamine high. They're trying to get somewhere, and they're just trying to, you know, it's like dope is the thing, you know, it's like a habit hormone. You keep doing it over and over, and you're trying to get that feeling that you got the first time, which a lot of people are on dope, even on some of these, what they call sacred plants. You know, folks is going to do it every weekend. Man, B, you coming, man, we're going to go do the sacred plant. I said, man, how many times y'all been down there? Oh, man, we go every weekend. I said, well, ain't nothing. What's changed? How you're doing some sacred plant, and you're calling this a sacred plant, and you may not be doing it at sacred times and in sacred places. And if you do sacred things and you don't really realize what is a sacred thing that has to be placed in a sacred time and a sacred space, then it may not be really sacred. It's just talk, because we got a lot of talk today. You know, we got the, you know, people got encyclopedias of conscious woke language. And I keep asking people, well, what does that mean? And a lot of times they can't go to the next level. But when you look at dope, a lot of people are doped up. They're hooked on the internet. They're hooked on their phone. They're hooked on the chocolate cake. They're hooked on drugs. And some things that you may be calling food may be drugs masquerading as food. You see, which is why a lot of times, you know, when it comes to love, it's all about taking somebody out to eat. You know what I'm saying? You know, you want to make sure they got the, you know, it's all about the food. You know, I got the biggest lobster on there. And guess what she ordered? She ordered the gigantic jumbo popcorn shrimp. Man, it was off the chain, because something says that we're not full already. That love and that connection is not full enough. So we got to put other things in the space to dress it up. You got to wear the high heel shoes. Make sure she got on her high heel shoes so she's not connecting to Earth. Because if the bottom of her foot is touching the ground flat, she receives an electrical impulse from Mother Earth. That electrical impulse from Mother Earth goes up her body through her legs into her womb and into her pelvis, which is a tuning fork, which sends a shock wave of energy straight up through the chakras out to the top of the head. Now there's another response coming from Father Sky, from the cosmos, that sends that energy down through the body so that these two energies can connect. When two people get together, right? This is one of the times when 1 and 1 doesn't equal 2.
Right.
This is 3.
That's right.
Because when two people come together, that energy that is created between them is creating a whole different, unique energy. And in fact, it's a whole nother universe. Every time you get with somebody, and if it's intimate, right? If it's really intimate, you're creating beings. I need to say this again. Every time you decide to go get intimate with somebody, there is a pregnancy that happens because you have created a new being. That being travels from the people out into the cosmos as a satellite. And guess what it's looking for? What? More of what it was made for. You got to get more of what you funking for. So what happens is that thing is going out, traveling through the universe, collecting more of what it was made of. And guess what it's going to do? Bring it back to the maker. So you're wondering why you're going through some stuff today. You're going through this thing. It's a challenge. Oh, things ain't going good. But what were you making love out of? You know, you got to figure out what you're making love out of. Are you making love out of the things that are not love? See, a lot of people really don't know love. They're in like a lot. And I can prove like a lot, because what happens is, oh, you know, I'm in love, you know, and it was great. Oh, my God. Then there's drama. They cheated on me and I hate them. Whoa. I thought it was love. If it was truly love, you couldn't fall in hate. You see what I'm saying? Because love is like the weather. It just happens. It's a connection. If it becomes physical love, right, then there's a whole nother world in the universe that gets created between those people, those beings. So the ancestors of those worlds are coming together in you, and you're becoming pregnant with new life. Now, the key is, you ready for this? Mm-hmm. You must have a goal. You must be goal-minded. When two beings come together to make the third, the goal should be something of a higher supernatural nature. Let's say, no, let's make it a low nature. You'd like to buy a 1,000-acre farm. That's what y'all want to do. You want to get a farm. So you have to focus the energy, right? Not just seeing it, because seeing, right? Feeling trumps seeing. Feel it as if it's already happened. So you're thinking from the farm, not of the farm. You're thinking from the farm. So the two of you are coming together and you've made this agreement, 1,000-acre farm. Now, all of a sudden, when you come together, guess what your whole energy is all about? It's all the ancestors and all the universes come together at this time to go look for more of what you desire and bring it back. See, a lot of people are having issues today because, you know, like even intimacy, right? Right now, everybody gets busy real quick. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, boom, let's get that out the way. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of folks don't realize that you first have to make a choice on what you're about to create, because this is co-creationism. You see what I'm saying? So once you are focused and you have created a ceremony or a ritual, even if it's only for one night, like Luther Vandross says, even if it's only for one night, you got to focus. Mm-hmm. The man's job, I know I was supposed to go here this early, but I'm there. Okay. You know, Brother Arch got me out here. You know, y'all, you know, I can see the way he looking through them glasses. I see what's behind them glasses. He's looking at me. All right now, Doc. Now check it out. I talked to your mother, so I know what's going on here.
Wait a minute now.
Well, hold on now.
Minute.
Hallelujah. Ain't that what they say in church? Hallelujah. But check it out. A lot of folks are not realizing that they're creating their life, right? First of all, they are creators, co-creators. But when they get with someone else, they are creating on a quantum level. So let's say you both would like $1 million, which is low, actually, because you've already got $1 million, but never mind. But once you focus on whatever that goal is and you begin to feel from the goal and you come together, you will actually materialize that gold in other dimensions. Because we're wave casting into the quantum field our desires, and it becomes a quantum entanglement on a whole nother level when people come together with a goal. Now, if you're out just goalless, then you're lost in space. You're drifting. So the average person today is drifting. The average person today is eating food that's got them drifting. The average people are drinking water and eating and living and vibrating at a rate. I'm not saying that it's at a low rate. Let's not even judge it. They're not in a place where they're focusing what it is they would like to create. When you get to a place where you're focusing on what you would like to create, and you got serotonin, which is the winner hormone that says we got there, and oxytocin that comes and says this is it, guess what? Everything begins to change. And it can change instantaneously. It doesn't take a long time. But you have to first realize that, as Brother Arch said, we're in water. This is fluidic space. This whole thing is a liquid. And we are full of liquid. There are 7 cenotes, 7 rivers, 7 oceans. Some people say 8 or 9 within our body. So we're liquid. You see? So we have to become liquid, like they talk about in money. We got to become liquid with our true essence, which is the real currency. That's the real water. And let's bring the waters together so that we can create whatever it is we desire. That's love. But we got to remember, and we're going to talk about this in a few, there's a difference between love and fear, and love and like a lot.
Mm-hmm. What music would you say, you know, our cells are dancing, everything's vibrating, everything is music. What, say that again, KT?
It's jazz, brother. It's jazz all day.
How the hell you knew what I was going to ask?
It's Love Supreme by John Coltrane.
I was about to say, what music on a cellular level do you he just said jazz. It's just
jazz, baby. I said it's jazz.
Okay, so let me finish, and KT, you can start out on the question. On a cellular level, what music best describes what's going on a cellular microscopic level? KT, you started out by saying jazz. Could you explain your answer? Then Dr. B, you can add on to that.
I'll challenge.
Because hold on, KT. No, I'm sorry. Let me cut you off.
No,
there's classical music.
Mm-hmm.
We got soul music from the 70s. Al Green, Love and Happiness.
Oh, yeah,
we got all that.
Yeah.
We got Bob Marley. You chose to say jazz. Explain your answer. Go ahead, KT.
Now, all those other genres that you just expressed, they all have a connection with us, no doubt. And they're going to all drum up certain feelings and certain emotions in us. But when you're talking about the chemical reactions, the subatomic movements, the actual driving force of our life and our systems inside of our body, I challenge anybody to pull any videos of cells and microscopic videos and blood flowing through the system and go ahead and play some jazz and find out if the layers of that instrumentation and that jazz does not fit any and everything moving that you're watching in the screen. It's the way that our body is flowing is more of a jazz type sound, because jazz has an order and a chaos to it. It cannot be constrained. And that is a great representation of what life is inside of us. We are jazz. We are the love supreme.
Dr. B, this is amazing. Go ahead, Dr. B.
So, as some of you know, I have been a musician literally all of my life, ever since about 3 years old. The music that I gravitated towards was jazz. I'm a jazz musician. Now, when I got to Los Angeles, I blew up as a hip hop producer, one of the first in Southern California.
Right.
But it was because I could listen to what they were trying to sample, and I could tell them, "Oh, that's a Fender Rhodes. You know, that's a Horner D6 clavinet," because I know all the instruments. I know what they sound like because I was deep entrenched in music. So I could tell you what instrument they were using, what strings, what kind of strings they had on the piano. Yeah, there's different strings for different pianos. So I was so deep in that world that I was able to extrapolate out to say, hey, we can rebuild that sample. Let's not sample it. course, a lot of folks was like, well, we're going to sample it anyway. But that's where the contract came that said that y'all going to sample it and you going to pay the royalties to, I remember when Isaac Hayes called and said, y'all stole my song. I said, nope, no, you didn't. Here's the guy that took your song. Because people today have gotten into modeling. It's loops where jazz is love. Jazz is improvisation, real true jazz. I'm not talking about just that soft jazz, that new jazz where it's really, R&B with a horn on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about where we don't know what's going to happen. Because when I go do a gig with my jazz musicians, we don't know what's going to happen. We might have a motif that we play. We might play, you know what I'm saying? We got a certain lick or a certain melody that we play to set the thing up. Then all of a sudden we leave. And then there's this mutual respect that we have for each other. I remember one time I was playing with this drummer. I don't want to say his name because he's really famous. And, I'm the percussionist. I'm the drummer. I'm the conga drummer. So I play the ear candy, right? And this cat was so loud, it was ridiculous. He was playing these drums. It was a little small club. First of all, he got a big set because, he's playing with big rock stars. And he brought this gigantic set that took the whole stage. And he's soloing. He's playing loud all night. So when it was time for him to take a solo, nobody listened because he was soloing. He was too loud. But love and jazz have something in common. It's respect. Where you let the other person lead, you make a space for them. You create a beautiful place and space so that the improvisation can happen. If you're in love and you're calling it love and everything is happening exactly the same. You know what days? Some people have scheduled intimacy. You know what I'm saying? Well, we do it only on Thanksgiving Eve or Halloween. They got these days or this day of the week is when we do this. See, that may not be love. That's restriction and constriction. That's the opposite of the free flowing of jazz. You see, jazz creates the most powerful life force that we know of because that's what nature is. You don't know what's going to happen. It's total improvisation. Love is improvisation. Love is not this controlling thing that we've gotten into where, okay, I've been with her enough time and I think I love her. You don't love her. You like her a lot. You're getting to know them. Mm-hmm. Love happens automatically. Jazz happens automatically because jazz itself, the name comes from the jasmine flower. Right. And jasmine is about love. It looks like, a man on top of a woman. Or a woman on top of a man. That's what the flower of life, basically. You see? So when you're in that jazz world, they used to call it jazz in music. And the main instrument was the saxophone. The saxophone is the saxophone because it's the male and the female component coming together, making this sound. You see, so it was only played in houses of prostitution. It was illegal. The church was upset about this because it's too free, because the church was about being, in a religious order. It was about military. When you start talking about a religion, right? This is a group of the military group of people that's marching to a certain order. But when you get into jazz, when you get into that free form, you are now in love mode. So when I'm playing jazz, it's in love. It's a beautiful thing. I'm not controlling it. I don't know what note I'm going to hit. You see, and I played with some of the greatest jazz musicians. In fact, I got an album that's going to be released soon that has some of the greatest jazz musicians, some living, some not, that I've been putting together for about 15 years. And it's all about finding the flow state of the universe, then tuning it away from the 440 frequency, which is another frequency that they created to keep people, consciously locked down, and dropping it down to 432 and frequencies like 528. That creates the love vibration, the love supreme. When you understand the concept and what this man just mentioned, when he mentioned the love supreme, do you even the notes? Dum 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 dum. If you write this down, if you could take your plants and have your plants in a room, and you could play classical if you want. They say, well, classical music is the music of the mind, and it expands. Listen, that's for the Europeans. Okay, that's for them, and that's cool. All right, you got that. All right, but the dopest classical people was playing jazz because they didn't know. They was hitting notes. Go check out Sun Ra. Do you understand? They still can't understand what this man was doing and what he wasn't doing. He said he wasn't from here. He kept telling you. You see? So when you are away from fear and you move into love, it becomes jazz. Because jazz is the beautiful place where the entire vibration of everything changes, where you can dip into a place, there's no one but you. You create a whole force field where fear is not, That's in jazz. I'm talking about real jazz. I ain't talking about the smooth jazz now, but that is the place where the flow is happening. So a lot of folks say, well, Dr. B, I bought one of your products last year and I bought it this year and it don't taste the same. I'm a jazz musician. I don't know how to make the same product. I'm telling you, I have never made the same product. I don't know how to do that. Because what I'm doing when I'm creating a formula in the lab is I sit there sometimes. Sometimes I don't feel right. And I say, I can't make nothing today. This is what, we got orders coming in like crazy. You got to get busy. No, I don't. Put it on there, sold out. Because I have to feel a wave come through. And when that wave comes through, it might be 3, 4, 5 in the morning. It might be tomorrow, today, or yesterday. Whenever it happens, guess what? I tap into a free flow. And I sit there and I let the herbs or the products and the essences that I'm using talk to me. So I might still have a product that has a certain goal, but when you let it flow and stop being so restrictive with your relationship, being so restrictive with your products, being so restrictive with your business, then you become flexible. Now you're a martial artist. Now you're able to tap into the wave that could only happen right now.
You went right into my next question, and this usually happens to me when the conversation is that good. It's like synchronicity and everything is in divine order. Family, make sure you this is some amazing stuff right here. But anyway, I was listening to Peter Tosh, and Peter Tosh was talking about medicine, and he was saying how you can't just give people the herbs. You have to put your mind in the herbs. Your mind has to be in the herbs. Once your mind is in the herbs, then you could give the people in the herbs because it has a different effect. And I didn't. That's not a direct quote. That's me just paraphrasing what he said. But my question is, hearing that and hearing what you said, Dr. B, do we have to show things? Because we look at things as me, KT, Dr. B, we're alive. Nothing else is alive. So should we show everything love to get the supreme outcome of that thing? Like I should show my phone love, as ridiculous as it sounds. Let me see. And this is, I'm being real here. This is a weed crusher. I need to show my weed crusher love. I need to show my hat love. I need to show my book love, because if I show this book love, I'm going to get exactly what I need out of this book, because everything has an electromagnetic field. Everything is vibrating. And if we show it a certain amount of love, it's going to show us a certain amount of love back. So if I love KT's herbs, I'm going to get a different effect from it, from somebody say, man, KT's full of shit. That shit ain't work for me. So you got two people that got two completely different testimonies. Talk to me about showing things, inanimate objects, phones, herbs, water, weed crushers, anything, cars, love, in order to get a certain outcome out of those things.
So keep in mind,
yes,
that everything, whether it's alive or it's an inanimate object, contains water in it. If it didn't, it would just reduce to dust, like Thanos snapped his finger.
So this got water in it.
Of course.
Okay.
There's water in there. There's water in everything. Now, with that being said, water is psychoreactive. We learned about that with Masaru Emoto, and we learned that with a couple other studies with the sister that I think we talked about it last time with the London Bridge is falling down thing. So when you impart a certain vibration into water, it's going to respond to that. Especially when you deal with making herbs. Water is a universal solvent. You know what I'm saying? And the dielectric constant of water, I believe is 80. This is what is the driving force of being able to pull the spirit and the properties out of the plant into the water, so you can have that tea or you can have that infusion. So it only seemed right that as you're working with water, that you impart your thoughts in it, because now what we're doing is we're talking about intent.
Okay.
Intention, right? Intention. And I talked about this last time when I said there are two driving forces in our reality. Okay, there's what we call compression and we got expansion, but it's based on what? It's based on tension. So the number one value right now, the number one thing that's worth money right now is attention.
Yes.
Right? That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants attention.
Yes.
But then you have something called intention as well.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it is a weed grinder or it is a book or it is whatever it is, this is something that you're putting in your life path at the time. You're putting your attention on. So you want it to have love. You want it to be imbued with a certain amount of energy, because regardless if it's inanimate or not, it's part of what your day is or what you're yielding to do. And you want the outcome of that to be on the highest level and it to be a love supreme. You know what I'm saying?
You see, this is really interesting where we are. When you have a goal, which is what the brother just said is an intention, your vibratory rate, your energy is leaving your, let's say your head, because it's maybe thoughts, as waves of potential going into the quantum field. If the repetition and the focus is laser-like, the particles will come together and materialize, because you're casting waves into the what you may call chaos, but there is even an order in chaos that is going to bring something back. So when we're working in the lab on products, whether they're herbs or essences or whatever, we're focusing the energy on what we would like. So I have a product here called Focus, right? So what is focus about? If I find that I'm not able to focus that day, because no one is perfect, guess what? I can't make focus. But when I'm able to focus and I light a candle, right? And if I can focus on the black part of the flame, when you can focus on the bottom part, the black part of the flame, and not blink long enough and get your breathing right in rhythm with the flickering of that candle, you are in total focus. You have become one with the flame. You see? Now, once you become one with the flame, you're in focus mode. So now I can say, okay, now I'll ask my herbal selection. You know, we have thousands of herbs. Which ones would like to be in this formulation? They have to change because the seasons have changed. The stars have changed. I mean, right now they're having issues finding the North Pole. You know what I'm saying? This whole thing is changing. The energy is speeding up. The atoms are changing. But you have to do it in a state of pure love and bliss. And you can't do it in a place of ego and have that, like the brother said, this whole, you know, we have intention, you know, we create tension, and, you know, it's all about power and control. Whose herbs are better? You know, right now, KT and I, whether y'all know it or not, we're actually creating a formula right now together online. Right now, this is happening. And he's probably like, wow, I felt that happening. It's happening because we're connected. We're all connected. There is no competition. Right? There's only us working together in the place of love. Now, love first starts with self-love. It's not something outside of you. It doesn't start where you're searching for it. For me, love is life organically vibrating effortlessly. Love is life organically vibrating effortlessly. Let's say that again. Love is life organically vibrating effortlessly. It just is. It's in the business of isness right now. It can't live tomorrow. It can't live yesterday. It has to live right now to now. You see, so in this particular moment, if you can feel the actual love, you see what I'm saying? You become a co-creator. But a lot of people don't really have the vibration of love truly, because they haven't been taught it. Because, you know, folks were taught the language when you were growing up. You were taught the language of fear mostly, you see. And what happens is we were taught how to breathe and become constricted in our breath. As soon as they slapped your ass as a baby, you know what I'm saying? You're breathing wrong. You're breathing backwards. So this creates constriction. Once you have constriction, right, this restriction creates a type of survival. When you're in survival mode, you know, you're in an actual type of suffering. And then your parents talked about how hard it was going to be, how tough it was going to be. It's going to be tough to find somebody that really loves you. It's going to be hard to get a job and keep a job. It's going to be hard, Brother Black Magic, for you to have a television show and be all over the world with over 500,000 people. You know, arch degree. It's how you just going to, you didn't go to school for blah, blah, blah to learn about such and such. You need to just go be a regular doctor and learn how to cut people wide open and give them drugs. You see, people got all this stuff they put on you. You see, and what happens is that energy, right, becomes epigenetic, right? It's an epigenetic vibration, which is a fear-based, right, source. Fear, because you're afraid for your children. I want my child to succeed. And when we talk about love, you know, we can't mention the things we do not desire. So I was talking to somebody and they were talking about love and they were saying all the things they didn't want. Well, I have to protect myself because, you know, you could get hurt out there and I've had my heart broken. But they never got down to what the real goal is for them because they were dragging fear with them. And see, fear is interesting because fear is like artificial intelligence. See, people talk about artificial intelligence. They tie it to these computers. No, artificial intelligence has been around a long time. It's when your parents told you certain things and gave you certain fairy tales and stories and analogies that were not based on you being at peak performance. Because a lot of parents didn't have the idea, they didn't have the notion of how to make you become the genius that you are. They buried your genius. They want you to fit in. You was left-handed, they made you right-handed. You know what I'm saying? You know, when I came home from algebra with an F, my father was upset. I said, why are you upset? I got an F. That means I'm free. I ain't got to go to algebra no more because I can't get it. It ain't got nothing to do with the 6/8 rhythm that I need to play when I'm playing music. I don't hear it on the conga drums. You know, by the way, I'm still on that punishment. 16 years old. My father never let me off that punishment because I was breaking the law. I was in jazz mode. So fear creates a feedback loop. Check this out. That ensures its own survival. We a lot of times take that into the love place. We take that into the business place. We making herbs. And if you're coming in there with fear and you're trying to compete with the next herbalist, people call me every day. In fact, today, 3 people asked me, how did my herbs compare to blah, blah, blahs? First of all, I've never tried their herbs. I don't know. You know, ever since I got into this, I've been doing my own stuff. There's probably 3 people that I've tried their products. 3. And I'm going to try this, you know, stingless bee because my man, you know, he got the special bee hairdo. My name is B. So we're going to do some work together. He even got the bee glasses. I like them. I need to get some glasses like that. So, you know, let's make sure we get some of the stingless bee honey. But when you realize that fear is afraid of itself. It's afraid of its own self-destruction. So fear creates more fear. It becomes an egregor. It becomes a being. When we get out of that and we find actual love, and love has to do with first learning to breathe. When we're in constriction, we're not breathing. We're not breathing a whole breath. And if you're not breathing a whole breath, then your heartbeat is not beating a whole beat. So that's why a lot of people's heartbeat is off. It's boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. It's not beating evenly enough because they're not breathing enough. They're constricted in their diaphragm. And once you're constricted, right, you get this tightness around the abdomen. All the waters in your body, right, detect that there's a problem. There's a problem. There's a problem out there because your cells are listening to the environment. Your genes are listening to the environment. They're not programmed in of themselves. They're listening to the epigenetic information that comes with them. So if you're in that place and you're walking into this new relating and you're on this date and you're thinking about all the bad things and you're in judgment, I don't know, look like the shoes ain't shined enough. Oh man, he's into that consciousness. Our last person I was with who was into that conscious stuff. We start thinking of all the bad things that could happen and we create a solution. A solution is like a liquid plasma, right? That you're creating based on your own mindset. So once we can get into that in a few minutes, the difference between love and fear, because what a lot of people are calling love is fear, and they have an inferiority complex in this, what they're calling love. I don't know what the question was, so I must be quiet now. Go ahead. Y'all got it.
Uh-oh. You on mute.
No, definitely. That was amazing. The words you just spoke, Dr. B. What I want to ask about is, in order to love yourself, it seems as though sometimes you have to, because you, Dr. B, you said it starts with loving oneself. Sometimes you have to forgive certain things that happen in your life. So on a molecular level, on a chemical level, let's talk. We talked about love. We talked about fear. What about forgiveness on a molecular and chemical level? What's going on in your body? Say if your body's a certain way because something happened to you when you was young. Let's say you got molested. Let's say you got raped. Let's say you got abused. But one day you decide to forgive the situation that happened to you. Now, what happens on a chemical, on a molecular, on the inside, on a quantum level to change, my brother, once forgiveness kicks in? So people will know the level of importance when it comes to forgiveness.
Yeah, that's where my big homie comes into play. You know what I'm saying? And all his little friends, you know what I'm saying? The entheogens.
Uh-oh.
Because when you say theos, you know, theos deals with divine, you know what I mean? So when you're thinking about the entheogenic plants, those are the stairways and the ladders in order to get to the creator. You know, I call psilocybin, you know, that's what this molecule is right here. You know, we got black as the carbon, blue is the nitrogen, white is the hydrogen, and this little orange and red number is a phosphate group. When you take that phosphate group off, then you're left with this, which is the DMT, you know, and then the DMT plugs into this, which is the serotonin receptor, which actually kind of looks like a saxophone, which is quite ironic, you know, you know. And I called DMT God's phone number because, you know, through that molecule, you're able to tune in. So when people are dealing with traumatic situations, they're dealing with like a dam. They're dealing with inhibition, something that's blocking them from moving forward because they felt that, you know, it was either taken advantage of or, you know, something happened that they didn't have any control over, and there's nothing that they can do about it because, you know, somebody will talk to them. They'll try to give them advice. They'll try to get their mind off of it, but nothing takes away the experience that they had and the decision that was made or wasn't made. So what ends up happening, you know, in forgiveness is not just going to happen on its own. A person has to actually face something. And this kind of connects to what Dr. B was just talking about in regards to fear. You know what I mean? Where we give power to something outside of the creator. Because we know God isn't fear. We know that. So why do we give so much power to something that is not the Most High, you know? So when we're able to recognize that there's no reason to give fear all of this power, and we're able to actually face the things that we are fearing and engage that trauma, then what happens is you have a release. And anatomically, or rather, better yet, physiologically, how it's released is through your fascia. You know, your fascia, which is the spider web glue that keeps your entire body together, and is the communication system or the nervous system of your nervous system, you know. So, for example, with some of these entheogens, and we've talked about this before, Rich, but you know, we got new people listening all the time, but a person might have gone through something when they were younger, and in having a particular journey within, a certain spiritual journey within, because within is infinite. That's where the kingdom of God resides. So you end up going within, and you end up going back to that time, and you actually relive that time. But in that time, you make a decision where you do not experience that thing. That whole energy ends up getting changed. And then you, because your brain has the ability to go through something called neuroplasticity and synaptoplasticity, where you're able to mold and shape the nerves and the neurons in your brain. Nothing is cement in your mind. Your mind is a gel that can constantly shift and shape based on what your intentions are and what energy you put into yourself. So if you go back to that place and you remove that experience, if you change that experience, then it'll change that thinking in your mind. And then you can forgive yourself. You can let go. You can move on. And there's people who have had trauma their whole life, 30, 40, 50 years, and they'll go on a spiritual journey and they will release that trauma. And in that moment, in that one day, in that one episode, they've been able to let go of 30, 40 years of pain. I've also saw this happen through fascia treatments through my man Bjorn. Big shout out to my man Bjorn on IG. He goes by Bjorn to Flex, BJORNT. 2, the number 2, and then Flex. And he's an amazing fascia specialist. He ended up working on my mother, working on family members of mine, Mama Jade, and releasing deep-seated, traumas, that they may have gone throughout their life. And they wake up crying and brand new, So your body is designed to release and also to produce chemicals and energies that will put you in a place of healing and love. And I know a lot of people may want to know, how can love be a chemical? But I started this thing off talking about sunlight and water. And if you go outside in the sun and you bathe in sunlight, what's going to end up happening is you're going to make pro-opiomelanocortin, POMC, POMC. This is a long dragon-like molecule that then gets cleaved up into like 9 to 12 other molecules. One of them is endorphins, and then some of them are other molecules that are analogs, meaning they're similar to the molecules that people find in most drugs that people get addicted to. But you're making natural versions of these molecules in your body, these feel-good hormones, these loving hormones, these healing hormones. So it's just something as simple as spending more time in nature, reflecting, connecting with nature, and understanding that God left answers all around us in our environment. We just need to open up our eyes to see.
So Dr. B, just to repeat the question real quick for you, my brother, we talking about love. A major component of love is forgiveness. So I'm asking, what does forgiveness look like inside on a molecular level? How does it happen? How can we create this forgiveness in order to further tap into this love frequency?
Well, forgiveness is a piece of a statement, which we really have to look at gratitude first.
Okay.
Without gratitude, you may not be able to get to forgiveness. Yeah. So gratitude is saying that I am, thankful for the things that I have, even my challenges, even my traumas.
Right. Right.
What we may have forgotten that each one of us have created this life. You may have chosen your drama. You're like, no, I wouldn't choose this. You wouldn't in your human mindset, but you as being an intergalactic being may have chosen to come here to test yourself. You see, like a ninja, like a martial artist is always testing themselves. The best ball player, the best car driver, the athletes, people who are winners, people who are in business are always testing themselves, because once you get too comfortable, there's no drive, there's no strive to do anything else. You get lazy. I mean, we see that in music. You was a rapper or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You was struggling, man. All you had was a car with 3 wheels, you know what I'm saying? And a donut on it. And, you was rapping your ass off. You was singing your ass off. You were playing the piano like crazy. Then all of a sudden you get the huge contract and you get crazy money. And something happens is that drive just leaves you because there's no more challenge. So everything is tied to its opposite. So there's an opposite to trauma. You see what I'm saying? Now you might say, well, look, I've been through some terrible things, but guess what? There is a way out. First, you have to be grateful. And this is a quantum leap in our emotions. If you could just say, I am grateful for the challenges that I've been through. I am grateful. When you say I am grateful and you really mean it, serotonin kicks in because you've won something. You've recognized, right? You're not in the dopamine mode of just going around and around like the little gerbil on the wheel. You've actually made a step. Once you do that, and then you celebrate, this is key. You celebrate, which means to vibrate your cells at a certain frequency rate that sends a pulse wave back to source, because source has been waving at you. You've been getting waves of information. Otherwise, you couldn't breathe. You wouldn't have skin. You wouldn't be here. So you've been getting waved to by her. She's been waving at you. Have you been waving back? Or are we sitting here as victims talking about how bad it is? You know what I'm saying? How tough it is and how it's just rough, man. My life has just been terrible. But you're breathing. If you're breathing, then you have a chance to change everything. So once you become in gratitude and now begin to celebrate, dance your way out of your constrictions, your restrictions. Just that notion, that vibration sends a pulse wave back to source. She sends back more waves so that you can get to the next journey, because we're on the hero's journey. We just forgot. And we think that the world is happening to us instead of from us. Once you make a new agreement and say, okay, I got this. And once you can get out of the past, because the average person is haunted by hungry ghosts. The ideas that are from the past, right, have people living half dead life. A lot of people just dead waiting on dirt because they don't realize that they are creating and have the power to get up out of their funk and create something new. So that's the first part. First, being grateful, and be grateful in advance. So a lot of folks, even in meditation, folks call me with their, they got their things they read out every day. I say my affirmations every day, and almost every affirmation I hear is about begging, and it's about talking about the problems. Almost everyone I hear mentions the problem. I said, no, you got to only mention the solution. What would you like? What do you mean, Dr. B? I don't want cancer, and I don't want diabetes, and I don't want to be broke down, and I don't want to be. Well, see, you're calling it because it has a very high vibration. You're calling scar tissue to your body. The issue is in your tissues, and now it's in your body because you can only feel in your body. You can only feel in your body. So once you begin to focus on what it is you truly desire, only devoid of everything else, become grateful in advance. In other words, I am thankful for the new car. I'm thankful for the herbal solutions that the Brother Arch Degree is going to send to me. I'm thankful for the next show that Brother Rich is going to have. I'm thankful for tomorrow when the sun will rise. I'm thankful for the rain. When you become grateful in advance, there's a pulse wave that leaves your body. Number 2, once you say, I forgive myself. This is key, y'all. Write this down if you can. I forgive myself and my family. But say it like this. I forgive myself, my family, and others, key word here, for imperfections. Once you realize, wait a minute, nobody's perfect. Because sometimes somebody comes at you and they're mad and they're angry. They don't even know you. So you're taking it personal. Once you start taking something personal, it gets in your body and you begin to react, right? And you're acting again over and over and over because this is the way you think. They're making me mad. Don't make me mad. So they're triggering you. When you become untriggered, you become untouchable. You can say what you want to me. It don't make me no difference. Somebody told me the other day, well, Dr. B, it's a lot of people don't like you, man. They say you making fun of, making a mockery of health, and you got too many jokes, and you be making crazy eyes. I'm crazy. I didn't tell you that I'm not. I am. I accept that. I accepted failing algebra. I'm cool with that. Once you realize that nothing here is perfect, no one is perfect. And once you begin to put people up on pedestals and say, well, they're perfect, God is perfect, and Jesus is perfect, and Santa Claus is perfect, and there's tooth fairies perfect. See, you become crazy. You begin to lose it because now you begin to personify something that you can't hold on to. But if you could say, I forgive myself, you first, for what? Everything. Because you might have stole a cookie at 5 years old and you got that Bible hitting on the back of your hand and it's still resonating in your body. You can feel it in your knuckles, right? Because that was grandma and you loved her. So, it's a vibrational thing. Once you say, I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfections. Imperfections is the key. Don't say their imperfections, just say imperfections. A pulse wave goes through you. Now, guess what happens? A vibration happens and your heart begins to beat differently. Before you even get into this new relationship or get ready to make love to the person that you're with, first say these things. Be grateful in advance. Then I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfections. If you do this enough times and you begin to chant it, you will begin to vibrate the energy in your head, the DMT. I've seen people chant them way themselves high. There's rhythms that we can play, right? There's rhythms that we can play that will take you into a state where the entheogens are, because they're in you already. We are the entheogens. We are part of the mycelium network. You couldn't live without mycelium. Everything here is based on mycelium, sunlight, and water. That's it. So to me, when you were talking about God earlier, that's the mycelium network. And when you travel that wave, that's when you get the answers. That's what the brother's talking about. Because some people, there's so much scar tissue that they can't break it. And when they have that experience, sometimes it's the first and only real, true spiritual experience they've ever had, and they break free. But you've got to first, before you even go into that, have a mantra that you're saying that, where you have a goal, you have a direction, you have a journey that you're taking, and you need to know what it is you're asking and saying so that you can receive the message.
Now, let me ask you brothers this. When I was doing research for the show tonight, and I needed to make a cover, a thumbnail cover, YouTube thumbnail cover for the show tonight, I went to several websites that I usually go to, and I typed in love. And on the two websites I went on, when I typed in love, a lot of gay shit came up. A lot of gay shit. And I'm like, okay, what does their lifestyle have to do with love? But because of the rainbow, the symbol, I'm going to symbols. That's where I'm going with this. Because of the rainbow, when they say love, the restaurants, a lot of places, they just attach their movement with the rainbow and say, this is a love movement. Because of the rainbow, because of their association with the rainbow, whether it's inverted or not. Now, with the rainbow, like I said, I'm going with symbols with this question. With the rainbow, before I was born, I'm an 80s baby. 70s, I believe, was the whole hippie movement. If I'm wrong, Dr. B, correct me. But the 70s was the hippie movement. And one of the statement pieces of the hippie movement was the tie-dye, the rainbow, the tie-dye, the colorful shirts or whatever. So it seems wherever this rainbow goes, people start talking about a love, and they start attaching movements to love. So let's talk about the rainbow. Do we have to make a concerted effort to take back the rainbow if we want to get back on that love frequency? And is that why these groups have a certain level of authority? Because they have the symbol that we call the rainbow, that even my children gravitate toward this rainbow. It's like something beautiful. And they're like, wow, a rainbow. But we gave up on that shit. We're like, rainbow? Now get that shit away from me. So let's have this mature conversation, gentlemen.
So first of all, they didn't take the rainbow because their symbol, it's the chakras are upside down. Mm-hmm. That's first of all. Mm-hmm. So it's already inverted and contaminated symbolically. Mm-hmm. So I don't associate with that. And most people that want to use that energy ain't going to associate with that either. Now, it's very powerful to use the rainbow because the rainbow pretty much represents the small sliver that we're allowed to see out of the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay. As vast as light is, Roy G. Biv is just a small little peek into the world. Mm-hmm. And color is nothing more than an optical representation of frequency and vibration. When you saying red, you're saying 650 nanometers. When you saying blue, you're saying 450 nanometers. These are all frequencies. These are all wavelengths that we're talking about. Now, visually, we're talking about it goes back to the sun again. Because what does the sun do when the sun rises? Because everything is black, everything is our rods in our eyes. We only see in black, white, we see in gray. That's all we see in at nighttime. But when the sun rises, all of a sudden now we have the colors of the world and every single hue in between them. You know, so it is our connection to our environment. It's our connection to God. It's our connection to love. What is one of the main things that have us fall in love with the person that we're connecting to? We end up looking into their eyes, which we call the gateways of the soul. And it's the color in their eyes. It's the it's the light that is emanating from their skin. When we look at our beautiful black skin as it is sitting underneath the rays of the sun, we notice this crystalline nature because we start to see the rainbow effervescence that comes off of its surface. We see the reds and the oranges and the yellows and the blues. Yeah, that speckle. You know what I'm saying? And when we are in love with one another, people already know. You know what I'm saying? When they see, they be like, you know, who you love it on right now because you glowing. You have this sheen. You have this shine. So when we make this connection and we're loving one another, we start to emanate that rainbow out of our body, you know. So then you get into our energy centers, and all of our energy centers are connected to colors as well. When you're going from red all the way up to the purple, these are all different vibrations as they go from a slower vibration, which doesn't mean bad. It just means that's the vibratory tone that is. And then it starts to increase and increase into a much higher and a more faster vibration. So we use color, you know what I'm saying, as a means to convey a conversation that has no words, so to speak.
Deep, my brother, deep.
Love is respect. And love is respect for other people's choices and what other people feel. Love is also compassion, having compassion for all things that live in this particular dimension. Love and fear are opposites. Love and fear are opposites. Love is no obligation. Fear is obligation. Love is no resistance. Fear is resistance. Love is expectation. Fear is no expectation. Love is respect. Fear is disrespect. Love is open. Fear is closed. Love is freeness. Fear is controlled. Love is compassion. And check this out. Fear is being pitiful. Feeling sorry for somebody. Did you know that is the opposite of love? You feel sorry for them instead of helping to give them the tools that they may need to lift themselves out of their thing. But, you know, sometimes we go and we want to help them and we don't cry. It's going to be all right. It ain't going to be all right if they don't cry and break off some of those dendrites. And those dendrites are the nerve endings that are holding the tissue where the issue is. So crying is good for the soul. So let them cry. You see, we have to realize that love is kindness. Fear is unkindness. Love is victorious. Fear is victim archetype. Like anger and jealousy and sadness, all of that is fear. Love is giving. You know, fear is taking. Love is generous. Fear is selfishness. Love is unconditional relating, right? Where fear is conditional relationship with contracts. Like, if I love you, if you do this, and I only like you if. You see, those are contracts. That's like a boat. That's a ship and it's closed, so it's not open. You see, love is no judgment of anyone or anything, where fear is judgmental. Love is heaven. Fear is hell. Love is power. Fear is force. Once you just hear what I'm saying here, you begin to focus yourself on you. Where are you at? Where are you coming from? When we point the finger and we say over there, and I need her to do this, and she better do that, and he better do this. If they love me, they'll put a ring on it and all that. You know, it's a whole lot of things that we got that didn't come from our original indigenous vibration, because we shared everything. The village, we shared all. We weren't worried about, putting up fences and all that. Because as soon as you put up a fence, right, and you say, this is my land and that's their land, that's a fear-based thing. Time, a lot of times it's based on fear, the concept of time. We're losing time. It's not enough time. You see, money, a lot of times is based around fear, because we haven't reached that flow state where you become self-generating. You become a superconductor. Ownership has a lot to do with fear. I need to own it. I don't own anything. There's nothing that I own. These books, these glasses, it's all part of a business. You see what I'm saying? I'm using it. But that whole fear thing is about lack and limitation and materialism. So as we let those things go, a flow begins. Once we let people live however they're living, and we respect whoever is living the life they're living, and look at ourselves, because sometimes we're talking about the enemy, and a lot of times that enemy is in us. The enemy is in yourself. You see, we talk about oppression and how we've been oppressed. Why do I look out and sometimes see oppressive people, oppressed people becoming oppressive and suppressive and repressive and depressive, talking about each other bad, throwing shade? Dr. B, I heard that you blah, 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 with that voice. Well, maybe it's true. What's that got to do with now? That's the past. So we got to be careful. Remember this statement. People who have been oppressed sometimes become oppressive. And then we take that into our relating, and we become oppressive in the relating. We want to own everything and control everything, whether it's male, female, they, them, whoever. A lot of times it's about power and control. I mean, about force and control. Power is actually good, because power is the natural flow you get from the universe if you would just open up. So like the brother said, he goes out, you sun gaze, right? You sunbathe. There's another piece to it. I stargaze. Go outside and lay in the stars and let all the suns touch you. That's what they call consider. To take something into consideration. Sitter means star. But a lot of times we answer too quick. Will you marry me? Oh, well, he was on one knee, so I said yes. But wait a minute. You better take that into consideration. Give him some time. Get off your knee. You understand what I'm saying? Don't give me that bondage device yet. Let me go take this into consideration, which means to sleep on it and let the stars talk to you. And sometimes it's a yes. Sometimes it's a no. But you also got to get into the gut feeling. Back to the mycelium, back to the friendly bacteria, back to the microbiome. And, I know Arch has got a lot of, I've actually heard him talking about this one day. I only heard the brother twice, but he was mentioning the microbiome. And see, that microbiome in your gut is where everything is coming from. The average person has no gut feeling. They just finished eating fried chicken oysters. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they just ate. So it's so much toxicity from man-made animals, man-made plants. Crossbred this, you crossbred yourself, you crossbred thoughts. So you got to get down to your real soul and go with that gut feeling. And the gut feeling says, first love yourself and don't judge anybody else. Work with yourself first. Be you. You've got to become you and find the jazz and the music within yourself.
So let me ask you this real quick, Dr. B, and I would love for you to chime in on this, KT. Because my audience is an extremely loving audience, and we want to project love in this realm. But sometimes the message can get a little confusing when we talk about love, because people have different definitions of love. And if you just go to a class, a self-help class on love, it sounds pretty, but when you get stuck in certain environments, some of those definitions don't fit. And let me explain what I'm talking about. So in terms of minding your business or just focusing on loving yourself, I have a 4-year-old son, and I'm looking for help and guidance on this. And this is why I'm asking this question from a pure place, from a heartfelt space. So I have a 4-year-old son, and I see the agenda taking place. I understand that I'm not too blind by love and by positivity. Some people call it toxic positivity, where I don't know that there's agenda happening in this world, in the collective consciousness, should I say, this world. So there's a gay agenda happening in the collective consciousness in this world, whether I want to judge it or not. It's something that's happening. We see it happening before our eyes, whether it's the feminization of the black man or the turning black women masculine through media. And my son is 4, and you know, several schools have several books that are leaning toward certain lifestyles and certain behaviors, and on the cover of that book is a flag. So it's attractive to the child, but behind the flag, behind this rainbow that is attractive, it's a lifestyle and an agenda. So I'm forced living in this realm as a God, living in this realm, being responsible, being honest, being transparent. I can't ignore the agenda that's happening behind this magnificent, beautiful symbol and my beautiful, magnificent 4-year-old son that is interested in the symbol. So when we say things like just ignore it or focus on yourself, sometimes we can't, Dr. B, and we full of love, but we got to call a spade a spade. And this is the difficulty with sometimes with black people in consciousness, where we're not just buying into certain democratic, liberal, woke agendas, and we like, nah, the shit stops here. And that's when I start using words like shit, and then that's when certain people get turned off. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm trying to understand how to operate in this realm full of love, but at the same time, understanding the tricks and the pitfalls and everything that's happening in this realm at the same time. So if y'all could comment on that real quick, and then we'll move on.
You asking
if any
me?
of you want. Anybody, KT or you?
KT, you got that.
I thought you said him, and then you told me to chime in after. Because the reason why I'm saying that is because Rich is directly responding off your comment. I think he's speaking to you. So when you're done, I'll say
all right. Okay.
And let me one more thing, Dr. B. It's a little difficult to just be, I love everything, rainbows and cherries, and it's a little difficult. It's difficult in this realm to maneuver like that. Sometimes the love thing gets a little confusing. You know what I'm saying, Dr. B? That's why I asked that. I phrased it like that, Dr. B. It's a real question.
And I get it. And I don't expect everyone to agree. Everyone has a different angle on this thing and what they're seeing. This world is an illusion. It's Maya. It is not what you think it is. Some of the things that you are calling challenges are the things that's going to make you better. So you have a 4-year-old son, and like you say, he's looking and seeing things, but we as adults are allowing them and guiding them and should be rearing them. Rearing them as you keep them in a place where they're like in a beautiful place where they can really expand. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a challenging thing, because a lot of the things that we've dealt with all of our life, whether it's from politics, the Democrats, the Republicans, a lot of this stuff has been given to us. It's not even ours. It's all agreements that we have made. So it's about what you're agreeing to. Okay. You have to agree to certain things. And we have to be very careful, because nature is the answer. We have to follow nature. Nature is going to fix whatever we think is broken. We have to realize that we are alchemists and become true alchemists, and that's transmutation. It ain't going to be easy, but it will be simple, step by step, because people are going to be who they're going to be. We can't change this whole thing, because to be honest, right now, I think the world is going to hell in a handbasket for a lot of reasons. Not just the ones that are really out there that you see. There's a lot of reasons, because this world is ending and a new one is beginning. What will it look like? I'm not sure, because, I grew up in the 60s. This thing is like, this is science fiction. Compared from what I am seeing, you would never think that people would eat the artificial ingredients. I mean, since when did canola oil become a health food item. I'm like in the health food store. I'm in Half Foods and all these places, and I'm looking. Well, canola oil. This is rapeseed oil. Why? Because this is the health. It's healthy. It's whole. The words healthy and whole don't even mean anything anymore. Organic. It's 50 chemicals that could be in your organic food. Right, you see? Right. So you're going to have to do some conversion on yourself, some alchemy on yourself in the quantum realm to change things into the state that you would like to be them in. And if you got that kind of power and that kind of focus, you can do it. We got to get out of the victim archetype. The world is happening from us, and we get to reach in and create what we like. And our children are going to grow up, and we can't protect them from everything. They're going to see things, and they're going to have to make choices. But we need to instill in children, right? As children, like, my children, like, my thing was that we can't be watching cartoons unless it's like, some powerful stuff like Golden Goose and things like that. There were some things that were powerful in cartoons, but the average cartoon, so it's spirit songs are singing to the child's mind. And most of the images, and even Disney, we thought that was some good stuff. You know how many sexual imagery issues there are in the Disney or Dizzy? You see, and why Tinkerbell is spinning backwards, doing a reverse spiral. If you listen to the tones of the music, if you listen to Mickey Mouse, da 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 da, do you know what them tones mean? This is a spell. And we've been under a spell, and we've made choices in the spell, and we think that because we got a grip on it, we conscious, we woke. I'm telling you, woke to me don't mean nothing. It's just another level of you in the theta state. You just kind of woke up. Theta state is when you're in between places. There's something beautiful happening right now. There's something amazing happening, but we got to be patient and wait for it. And we got to focus our energy. Be careful what we're eating, what we're ingesting, what we're listening to. I tell you what you might want to do, Brother Rich, is blast jazz through the house every day. I'm telling you, bro, because what you don't realize, see, check this out. I'm going to go here and I'm going to let Brother KT take it. Do you know what hip hop is doing to people? Do you have any idea? Even the 808 bass drum, if I broke the science of the 808 bass drum down and what it's doing to those subharmonic frequencies, it would blow your mind. I don't use it. Now, I have the original 808. I have the actual machine. It's a different frequency because it's changed, because it's been sampled. And once you start sampling things and you're breaking those bits down into ones and zeros, all kinds of information can be put in a digital frequency. Most of the music is loop. It's making people loopy. It's the same thing over and over. It has no crescendo. It doesn't rise. It's just we take the chorus and just paste it and cut it, because everybody can do it now on their computer. But, and that is music, but it's modeling. And what happens is you create brain waves that become loopy. Once you become loopy, you begin to agree and sign contracts with things, and you say, "Oh, that's dope. That's dope." It is dopamine, but does it reach that level of orgasm? So what I do is I make sure that the children that live here, they're not my children, the children that are here, because we don't own anything, jazz. We're watching jazz shows. Listening to jazz. Even if they don't want to play an instrument, I go buy it. Get the saxophone, just have it in the room. Get a harp, get some things around them so they can feel real vibrations instead of just listening to everything on an MP3, because what we don't realize is that is encoding us deeper than anything else because music is fluid. Music is liquid. And right now, if you turn on the radio right now, the frequencies that are coming across that radio, they're taking you out. They're finishing this thing off. I was in the studio when those folks would walk in the studio with those pants that don't wrinkle. These people own prison industrial complexes. These people owned liquor companies, and they were telling us what to put in that music. It wasn't about us being free form and doing our own thing and being improvisational. So our whole world is being controlled. So what you do is you take your children and get them out of the fast lane. You have to do it every day. The woman in the house has to do it. Everybody has to make a concerted effort. Make sure that what you eat and you reading them labels. The average cereal got nicotine in it. Why does this average cereal have nicotine in it? They call it, well, it's niacin. Well, it's many types of niacin, right, Brother KT? It's different types of niacin. It's different types of minerals that actually, and depends on the frequency of those minerals, because it's really not the minerals, the frequency of the mineral can change the mindset of a child. So there are things that are happening to attempt to control the mindset of the masses. All we got to do is get out of the fast lane and go back.
Now, I definitely appreciate that answer, Dr. B. Before I get to the next question, I got a quick question before the next question. We often talk about foods like eggs and milk, dairy, meat, bread being mucus forming. What I want to ask you is emotion, since we're talking about the opposite of love, which is fear or maybe stress. Is fear mucus forming? Because these foods are low vibrational foods. And if we have low vibrational thoughts, are those low vibrational thoughts producing mucus the same way the low vibrational foods are producing mucus?
Definitely. Because it's going to have an acidic response. See what I'm saying? And the body is mucus. Like, we got a mucus lining. So what it really is, it's compromising your mucus. It's
compromised. Okay, that's the correct way. Okay,
you use mucus to encapsulate and envelop the toxin or envelop the poison or envelop the problem so you can expel it out of your body. But if you have your passageways and your airways blocked, then what ends up happening is it gets stuck there. And sometimes its density is so thick, it can't even move, and it'll grow and it'll develop more and more. But yes, thoughts have a frequency. You know what I'm saying? We can go back to Masaru Emoto again and the different statements that were invoked in the different waters. You know what I mean? Whether it was sorrow, whether it was grief, whether it was fear, whether it was hatred, whether it was sadness, all of these things created particular structures in the water. And your body is all about the architecture of water within it. So if you have this low vibrational frequency that you're resonating on consistently, then you're going to destructure your water. You're going to collapse your water. And I tell people, think about it like this. When you have inflammation and you have swelling, what is the physical representation of that? What do you notice? You notice what? Something gets bigger, something gets swollen. What does that mean? That means it's water. So it's like, where the water come from? You know what I'm saying? Did you just pull it from outside? Do you got a tap, like, a few veins up from it where it turned it on and started filling that region? No, you're dealing with different phases of water.
Right.
So the water was in a structured gel state. And then based on that frequency and that thought of that poison, that toxin, or that acid, it loses its structure, it becomes liquefied. So you go from it being gelatinous to it being like a water balloon. You see what I'm saying? So you got this liquid water. Same thing happens with your joints. You know what I mean? When a person has arthritis and the bones start rubbing against each other, and you get that inflammation, the reason why they rubbing against each other is because that synovial fluid went from that gelatinous sea moss state to a liquefied state because it lost its structure. And it lost its structure based on that frequency and based on that vibe. Remember, it's all electromagnetic waves that are doing this. So if you collapse that, and you collapse it through 5G, you collapse it through the blue light, you collapse it through all of this non-native electromagnetic frequency, this can collapse the structure and the integrity of the water.
Did you want to say something on that, Dr. B?
Well, everything is affecting the environment. Our whole environment right now is affected by everything. You see, but what we have to realize is that everything is happening at the same time, right? There really is not time the way we think of time. It is our perspective of time that creates time. But everything that ever happened and ever will happen is happening right now, you see. So instead of looking at what caused the issues, we have to look at what is the solution. And then back to that word solution, we're talking about liquid. It's going to be water. It's going to be foods that actually give us life, foods that actually give us energy rather than foods. Some of the foods people eat takes more energy to digest than it can give to your body. You eating food that's eating you. People don't even realize that there's foods, there's frankenfoods that never existed. It never existed, and people are eating it. A lot of what people are eating.
Give me one example of a frankenfood that never existed, so the people can know what you're talking about.
Impossible Burger.
Come
on now. Impossible Burger with HEC 293 aborted fetus cells up in it. Come on, man.
And they call it impossible, and you can't say that they lied. See, these companies, right? They tell you the truth. The people are making the choice, right? And they got people around the corner buying this stuff. I don't know. Sometimes people say, "Well, Dr. B, is it better to eat that than to eat the actual cow?" Well, it's real questionable right about now because some of this stuff, right? It hits your body faster than the cow would because
a burger's listen.
We're talking about nanoparticles.
We put an Impossible Burger in front of me and a burger from one of these Irish pubs.
You see what I'm saying?
You taking an Irish pub burger?
Irish pub is all day.
You see what I'm saying?
What you talking about?
You see? But what I'm trying to tell you is we gotta be see. And a lot of people that the whole thing, and I'm gonna say this too.
Oh man, KT,
people say, well, the best diet is vegan. I stopped for a second. I say, this is getting into, it's almost like religion. It's real dogmatic. You know what I'm saying? You have to eat this if you're black or if you're white, if you're this. You see, it's many truths. And we have to also realize that there's bio-individuality. So I'm a kinesiologist. So what I did when I was seeing clients was muscle testing to see if this particular food is good for them or is it harmful? Is it life-giving or life-taking? And we would go through a list and we keep testing and testing and you get a yes or a no, yes or a no, yes or a no. I know some people right now that if they eat, now this is deep, if they eat too many green vegetables, the lectins in the vegetables attack their digestive system and they get an autoimmune system illness.
That's deep.
You will say, well, no, come on, you just can't eat red meat. You might die if you don't eat this particular thing because the lectins, a tomato, the nightshade, the deadly nightshade. The people that eat tomatoes over in Spain and places like this in Italy where they have a lot of tomatoes, they peel the tomato and they take the seeds out because on the skin and in the seeds are these lectins, which are these basically chemicals that are trying to protect the plant from you eating its young. You're eating its baby. So it said, well, let's take you out slowly. You see, the same thing with cashews. Now, some people say, well, I love cashew. We got cashew milk. Well, eat it. I'm just telling you, you need to realize that everybody might not be able to eat that. Peanuts. You can't even open a peanut, one peanut on an airplane if somebody got an allergy. Somebody in the back of the plane will die. Why? Because some of these things have energies in them that affects life force. So we have to get selective here and realize there's not one truth.
Okay.
There are truths. And we have to begin to break out of this thing. So, because I know folks that went vegan and got very sick. I know people that went raw. And this is the truth. There was somebody that came to my office in a stretcher. And I said, what happened? What happened to them? And the person couldn't even hardly talk. So their family said, well, they went vegan. What does vegan even mean? They got so many vegan junk foods. I mean, you're gonna try to shape this thing. You got this fake turkey on the Thanksgiving table. It's supposed to be a turkey, but it's gotta look like a turkey to be. Why are you even doing the Thanksgiving situation? I don't even know because the turkey represents you naked. I don't want to go there getting deep. Breathe, Dr. PP.
That's exactly why Dr. Fabi, all the way back in the 80s, came up with his own term named alkaline. See what I'm saying? Because he was like, there was no vegan. Vegetarian was existed at that time. He didn't identify as that either. You know what I'm saying? His whole thing was alkaline because he was like, whatever's going to give me the charge and the electrons, that's what I'm eating. Whatever's going to take the energy and the electrons away from me, I'm not messing with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he was on. And even though his list evolved over the years, he's no longer here. He's only here through all of us. We're supposed to evolve that list and that mentality. So we have to understand, okay, what foods is accounts payable? What foods is accounts receivable? Which one is a deposit? Which one is a withdrawal? You know, we have to find that out. And then once we know the answer to that, then we know what our diet is.
And that takes us back to love. Because once you really are able to begin to create love, even if it's only for 1 minute, 1 second, right? That's when your body releases, and because we're in constriction mode. We constrict everything when we're in this fear mode, right? Even when we eat, some people eat out of fear. They eat out of fear. They're choosing based on fear.
They eat healthy food out of fear.
Do you think that you're going to be able to extract what you need out of that food when you're in fear? When it takes like most of your blood flow has got to go to your stomach and your intestines to digest this thing. And you're sitting here afraid and you're worried and you're upset. I mean, one day this lady came to me and she said, well, Dr. B, I just can't do this because I need chocolate cake. I need chocolate cake. And she was nervous and she was shaking and she started crying in my office. I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, well, you know something? You need to go have a piece of chocolate cake. She says, Dr. B, you saying that? I said, go eat that cake. Go have that cake because that's going to take you out of stress mode. Now, maybe we'll take a little, half an inch away every once in a while till you get down to a place, but all you need to do is smell the chocolate and get down to the actual cacao bean. Because when you get down to cacao, the cacao fruit, I just had some yesterday. That's a whole nother level when you start getting to the actual foods that you're attempting to get through by faking it. You see, so they got all of these food and flavor enhancers that, what you're creating excitotoxins, which are exciting your nervous system and your body to it's actually in fear mode. Your body, when you eat something that goes against life, your whole immune system goes crazy. What did he just eat? What did she just ingest? The same thing happens. Now, let me say this real quick. You're out on a date. Now, normally, you eat a certain way, but this person's really been chatting you up and you really like them. So they said, well, just go on and eat a little bit of that. It's just a sea roach. You know what I'm saying? Just have a little. So you say, well, I'll have a little bit of the sea roach just for you because I love you, baby. I love you too. So you eat a little bit of the sea roach. You ate it based on fear. A whole lot of the things that you're doing in love is based on fear because you don't want to lose somebody. You don't want to miss out. Almost every commercial on television is based on fear because it's showing you what you could have that you don't have. They show the people dancing in the hay and, by the ocean. These people is 99 years old, look like they just finished making love all night. Then they show you this drug, Symbolism. You don't even know what it means, right? And then they say real fast along the bottom about how it would kill you. And the deeper one was when it says, if you experience swelling of the lips, tongue, throat, nose, ears, and eyes, call a doctor. How the hell you gonna call a doctor? I guess they know when you call like that 911. Oh, he must have ate that. They took that new medicine, but they focus on what you'll be missing out on. Commercials based on fear. The news is based on fear. If the news that leads is the news that bleeds, you believe that you know what's happening in Bosnia and these different places. You ain't been there. You believe they went to the moon. You didn't go. So if you stay focused on what you have in front of you, this is the minding your business and businessing your mind. You got to stay focused on who you are. But we're looking for likes now. This is a real problem. We need likes. We create a whole persona on the internet. You know what I'm saying? I met somebody, right? They had been talking all this talk. They wanted to, do a consultation. And I'm looking at their, looking at them on the internet. Then they came up the steps to my office. I was like, who are you? I'm the one on the internet. They had their voice and everything on the internet. Somebody told me the other day I need to get this thing called chat box or something, chat something. It'll write your books, Dr. B. It'll talk for you. I said, oh, hell no. Don't y'all realize what's happening here? I mean, you can get it if you really think that's you. Well, Dr. B, you've been trying to write a book for 10 years. This thing will write a book in 10 minutes. I don't need a machine, artificial intelligence, do you understand what I'm saying, to talk for me. Next thing, they're going to be making food for you. Creating foods. They're already creating Frankenfoods, but they're about to take that to a whole new level. Already. But you could go in the metaverse and eat and have a dinner in the metaverse.
That's the whole reason for the fear. The whole reason for the fear is to affect you and your interaction with getting your nutrients because they understand that you have an autonomic nervous system. And your autonomic nervous system is broken down into a sympathetic and a parasympathetic. Your parasympathetic is fight or flight. Your parasympathetic is rest and digest. Your sympathetic is fight or flight. If you are eating food that invokes fear, or you're in an environment full of fear, then you will not be able to digest your food because your body does not operate with both of them at the same time. So all your blood are going to be into your extremities. They're not going to be in your visceral organs. They're not going to be in your gut. It's not going to be in your stomach. It's not going to be in your liver. It's not going to be in your pancreas. It's not going to be in your gallbladder. It's not going to be in your colon. It's going to be in your arms and your fingers and your legs and your feet and your heart and your brain, so you can prepare to defend yourself or run away. And as you're trying to rest and digest, because we know rest and digest has to be connected to eating, because we sit around a table with people that we love and we talk and we connect and we continue traditions. We laugh, we have a good time. That conversation invokes what? Love and affection and good times, so that as we're eating, we're feeling those feelings and we're putting those emotions in the food as we sit and we rest and digest, and we're able to properly extract and assimilate all of those proper nutrients and vibrations. We can't do that in front of the food, in front of the television. We can't do that with the drill music coming in. We can't do that when we're getting cursed out. We can't do that when we're angry. We can't do that when we're in grief. We can't do that when someone is forcing us to do something we don't want to do. The only thing that's going to happen is the food is going to pass through us, and you're going to have some Louis Vuitton excrement in your toilet. You're going to have some Gucci boo-boo. You're going to have some late dung. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be popping tags in the toilet bowl.
Wow.
Now, let me say this much too. See this, the sympathetic nervous system is really interesting. And thank you, brother KT, for bringing this up, because see, the sympathetic nervous system is sympathetic to everything happening out there. The whole environment is reading it.
That's right.
The parasympathetic nervous system is like a filter. So like he said, rest and digest. When you're resting, you're filtering from all the busyness that was going on. You're resting. To digest, you also have to be in a state of rest, right? So that you can filter. The digestive system is a filter. In fact, all foods have to be liquefied. So your intestinal tract is a juicer. It's a juicer. It juices everything. If it can't juice it, it's going to go out as waste. So your parasympathetic system has been excited by so many things, so much going on, so much talk, so much news, so much information, that what has happened over time is our parasympathetic nervous system has begun to become weaker. So look at the parasympathetic nervous system as like grandma. You know how you could go to grandma with a new idea and you got these new clothes and you talking fast, and grandma said, now sit on down, now calm yourself, breathe a little bit, and let's have a little bit of lentil soup and some greens and we can talk about it. Because the parasympathetic nervous system is like the wisdom. It's the wiseness. It's the wise old person that filters all that stuff out that may not be all that important that you think is important. Sometimes it's a lot of stuff that you think is important because somebody just spoke it and it was on the internet, or somebody read a book and you read something and it blew your mind. See, what happens is after a while you become numbed and dumbed up. You can't feel anymore. You don't know what to feel. People have relationships, traumatic relationships together. They're trauma bonding. We've heard that before. Yes. People meet. And if you got drama, you tell your drama on the date, then they tell their drama. And if y'all got enough drama together, you have a dramatic relationship. Then you have a dramatic wedding. Then you have a dramatic divorce. And it's all drama. Because people sometimes have forgotten how to bond, right, with true love and really listen and really hear and just be able to get into a place of resting. You see, we're talking too fast sometimes while we're attempting to date. You know, they look good. Oh, man, she was fine, man. Man, she was blah, blah, blah. Man, he was blah. And he had these new shoes on and he looked just like my last date, Willie. You see, we get into these things based on these symbols, right, of what we think is great. But when we get more quiet and we start getting into that parasympathetic nervous system, which is brought on by deep breathing, meditation. You see what I'm saying? Those things, grounding, putting your naked feet on the soil and just breathe and relax and wait for it and get into the flow. Mm-hmm. And that flow state will give you the answer that you're looking for, because sometimes we're choosing out of ego, we're choosing out of fear, we're choosing out of loneliness, and that is not love.
we're about to wrap up the conversation real quick before we I'm gonna ask a question, then I'm gonna take one question because it's getting late. I had these gentlemen on for 2 hours from the people. Before I do that, shout out to everybody who signed up. I'm sign up for the fast. The fast starts on Monday.
Get your honey, get your sea moss. Stop
Honey and
playing.
CMOS, the Cash App. I already told y'all if you're interested. If you send your donation, leave your email. I will add you to the fast. Before we wrap up the show, I'm gonna ask one more question. Then I'm gonna take one question from the family. We unfortunately we can't get to an extensive Q&A tonight. But before we do that, I want KT and Dr. B to leave their websites. These gentlemen have some of the greatest products I've seen in the world. So I want y'all. There's over 2,500 people in here tonight, almost 3,000. I want y'all to support these two brothers, their products and what they're doing. They're geniuses in what they're doing. They put love. We talked about love. They put love into what they're doing. It's not just a product. It's infused with love and family. If you've never been around Big Mama, that's very important because once you taste Big Mama food and somebody else's food, there's a big difference when there's love involved in it. So go ahead, gentlemen. Tell the people your websites.
So soionicbotanicals.com. I put it in the private chat again. Rich, if you want to put it up real quick, SOIONIC BOTANICALS, soionicbotanicals.com. That's where you will find the much sought after #1 most powerful product of God that you could get right now, which is the Nectar, the sun gel straight from Honduras that Dr. Sebi spoke on for so many years. This wonderful honey has the ability to not only help your vision with your eyes with glaucoma, cataracts, and other eye issues, but it actually helps you envision. It helps you with your dreams. It helps you with your vision in life. You start seeing the world different. You start seeing the big picture, which allows you to move a lot differently. It helps you with your inner ear. You got inner ear infections, things of that nature. You could drop it in your ears. You can ingest it. It's going to help your oral health. It's going to help your digestive health with your microbiome because it's a probiotic as well. It's good for diabetics. It also is very good as a wound healer for cuts, so forth and so on in the body. But its most powerful property is how it affects your genes. So if you have any gene issues as of recently that you need to kind of like moonwalk back to its original state, it assists with that property as well. And, if we talking about love, God loves us, but providing these stingless bees to give us this wonderful honey. It takes 2 million flowers to make 1 pound of honey. So for every honey pot jar, there's 500,000 flowers in there. And for every dropper, there's 250,000 flowers in there. That is a very compressed and condensed amount of good love energy up in there. So that, along with C3, phytoplankton, Sotriol D, our D3 product, and a lot of other products we have on the site, you'll get that at soionicbotanicals.com. I'm going to drop the link in the chat real quick. But yes, you head, be serious.
Yeah, Dr. B.
You can find me at elevationtime.com. That's elevationtime.com. Also, Doctah, DOCTAH, be serious on IG and on Facebook. And I hear that I'm up for an award at the Forbidden Knowledge Conscious Awards. They say I may be up for a couple of awards. So if you'd like to go vote for Dr. B, that would be great. Thank you very much. And the main thing to realize is that when you learn how to take care of yourself, you learn how to navigate your ship in the ocean, right? That's a powerful thing. So I have some classes that are online right now that you can go take a class and learn how to navigate your ship. There's a bundle of 14 of my best classes, all for one deal on the website at elevationtime.com. Also, earlier we talked about music. So I have 4 medicine music products These are frequencies and sounds and musical journeys that take you to another space. Some people said they felt like they've taken entheogens or mushrooms or something like that when they listen to this music, because the frequencies, some of it you've never heard before. But there's crickets, there's water. I recorded water from all over, and rain and wind and all of these things, along with instruments from around the world, which we have also at Elevation. It's called medicine music. It's something I created many years ago to help people heal, through the vibration of music. And also, my specialty is parasites. And we're not talking about the ones in the colon. You know what I'm saying? That's easy. We're talking about the ones that live throughout the system. You see, those parasites, right? The systemic parasites that live in the brain, like the toxoplasma, the parasites that live in the thyroid and the thymus gland and in your different organs, you cannot get rid of them with just herbs. I'm a master herbalist. I've been one for almost 40 years. I'm telling you, we take it to the lab. I take everything to the lab. But because you got a blood-brain barrier and you've got certain parts of your body that protects itself from some of the abrasiveness of certain herbs. So sometimes you have to change the frequency of the body. So we're using flower essences. We're using essential oils. We're using crystal elixirs. And many years ago, I learned how to infuse sound frequencies into the formulations. We're not even using regular water. People say, well, what kind of water is this? Well, we get water from a very special place where it's some of the most primal waters, in the world, you see. So what we're doing is we're combining a lot of things to create alchemy. So there's a bunch of products we have at elevationtime.com if you'd like to go visit and take something home. But right now we're about to go in, we're going through the equinox coming up here in just a few weeks. So everything changes, right? So there's a shift that happens when Sirius, right, rises at this particular time. There's a shift and all the animals go into estrus. See, on March the 21st, between March 20th and 21st, you'll notice all the pine, right? The pine puts out this yellow dust, which is the semen of the forest.
It's all over now.
That's a signal. Right now. And actually this year, the whole season shifted. Everything is shifted. They're talking about the groundhog didn't see the shadow. How the hell you know what the groundhog saw? Come on, they get a bunch of stuff in your head. It's springtime. So right now is a good time to detoxify your system, not just from what's in your colon, but throughout your whole system. So we do have programs that can help to detoxify your whole system, but there's also classes that can help to detoxify your mind. So you can be focused, because spring, which is the beginning of the real year, is when you spring forward. But you've got to get rid of some of the stuff from the past and let go of some of that anger and some of that fear and some of that trauma. Now, some people say it's really hard to do it. I'm saying if you focus your mind on anything, right? If you focus on it long enough, you will move towards it. It may be slow at first, but it's just like martial arts or playing an instrument. You must stay focused on a goal. You have to be goal-minded and realize that you're always 3 feet from gold. And your situations you've been in, it's like the diamond has to go through pressure and fire and heat to become a diamond. So some of the pressure, some of the drama and trauma we've been through, only we are able to, at this particular time, to turn that into gold, platinum, iridium. Don't worry, brother Rich, I got your product coming. The one with the gold, the platinum, iridium, gold, palladium. These are ionics and monoatomic elements that we put in the formula, to help folks who are having issues with. Brother mentioned genes, but a lot of people, their telomeres are breaking. And those telomeres have a lot to do with your life force and your life expectancy, how long you live. So, thank you very much, Brother Rich, for having me on. Brother KT, it's good to meet you. And brother, give Brother KT my number. We need to exchange numbers, because I want to try some of this stingless bee, because I'm a bee, so I have a connection.
We all gonna link up in Atlanta. We all in the area. I'm gonna make it so that we all link up.
Let's link up.
Yeah, we all got
real quick, Rich. Somebody told me that I'm nominated too under the health category with the.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't even know. They hit me up and let me know that I was. So yeah, y'all can vote for me in the health category.
Yeah, I haven't checked out. I know Billy. That's my homie. I haven't checked out the nominations yet. I heard I was up there as well, but I haven't even promoted whatever. But that's going to be a big event, family, the Forbidden Knowledge Awards. So I'm going to talk to Billy, and we're going to be promoting that heavy. But, yeah, we got to make sure the right people are nominated, and we got to make sure the people are voting for whoever y'all want to vote for. So I'm gonna make sure that people know that this is going down. It's important that our people get recognized for what they're doing. You know, the Oscars and the Emmys, they got everything going on over there, and we got to create our own thing over here. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna let everybody know what's going on with that and how to vote in the future, because these two brothers are awesome at what they do. I'm awesome at what I do, and we would love for y'all to be involved in the process. And with that being said, I can say I got so many questions. I gotta wrap it up though, but I could go so many places, but I am going to go this place.
What we got?
So we're talking about unconditional love, and Dr. B uses words such as source. We use words such as the triple blackness before the universe was created. You know, the universe's creation of this source energy. What I want to ask you is, because we live in a realm in the universe, they say it's pure love, but there appears to be so much fear in this world. I want to give an example before I ask a question. If I think I'm a fly guy, say I think I'm a fly guy or something, or if I think I'm, I think I'm strong and I'm muscular. I don't need anybody to tell me I'm that in order for me to know I'm that. I just know I'm that. Once I continuously need approval from external sources, then everybody can say, nigga, you ain't confident. You need other people to tell you that. You're looking for outside validation. What I want to ask you about source is, because source created the universe, are we the external validation of source because we're the feedback mechanism? We let source know, hey, source, you the shit because I'm the greatest basketball player in the world, because I'm this, or because I'm fearful. The source says, oh, shit, this is who I am. Oh, okay. Oh, shit, this is who I am. So because source needs external validation via a dream, via illusion, via the universe, is source not as confident, as full of not as full of love as we think it is? Maybe source is 50% love, 50% fear, and that's why the universe came out the way it is, and we see love and fear at the same time. Talk to me about that possible. And I don't mean to be getting at source, but this isn't a question that source is like, nigga, I'm proud of you for asking this. Nobody would dare ask that question, nigga, if I'm fearful or not. So talk to me about the idea of source being not confident of who it is, so it created the universe for external validation.
So that would only make sense if there was something outside of God.
Woo.
I'm just going to leave it there. Ain't nothing outside. Ain't nothing outside, son. You know what I'm saying? I know Dr. B he got some fluid for that, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I gotta say. Ain't nothing outside of him. So
Dr. B, I'm questioning source. Talk to me. Source is like, oh, we got what here. Go ahead, Dr. B.
First of all, everything is everything. It's all happening. Our perceptions are what we're perceiving. That's what we call it. The world is not the earth. That's your world. When you say the world, that's just what you know of as the world. Like they say the world's going blah, 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 blah. The world's going crazy. Well, your world is going crazy because there's somebody I know living in a cabin right now next to a river that are not having any issues. Everything is beautiful, but it all depends on your focus. Whatever you focus on expands. You see, if you focus on being source, then you are source. It's not something outside of us. You see what I'm saying? It's inside of us. You could have a family where, you got 5 people and one person in the family is having a beautiful, amazing life. And the rest of the family is talking about how bad it is. How could that be? Because we all manifest in different ways, you see. But if you focus on what is not happening, because that's your focus, then that's what happens. Let me give you a real quick picture of this. The deer. There's a deer right now that might be getting eaten by wolves. Mm-hmm. The rest of the deer are not going to sit around for the next 3 weeks talking about how messed up they ate Bambi, and they're mad at the wolves are terrible. But that particular deer, right, may not have been able to run fast enough, and it may hold the rest of the herd back. It may have had a lame leg or something going on where it didn't have the energy, so it got reconditioned and it turned into what? Earth. It became fertilizer. Everything is being turned into fertilizer. It's like a garden. This is the Garden of Eden, which is this whole thing is a garden. But the deer, right? After the deer runs from the wolf, it looks around and sees the wolf is gone. It calms down, its breathing changes, and it goes back to eating. Okay. It doesn't stay in this place where it's looking for the wolf. Okay. It is expanding itself like the trees. We have to totally expand ourselves to be a part of source. We have to be in expressive mode. We're totally expressing and doing the very best we can each day. That is what I call minding our business.
Talk to him, Dr. B. Okay, I said that was going to be the last question, but I lied. One more question. Because this show is so good, I got to ask another one. Oh, y'all got to understand. I'm really enjoying myself. Here. This was an amazing show. This was an educational show. It got real for a moment. This was a realistic show. This was a passionate show. This show touched on all the emotions, family. This is what shows should be like. This is what talk and conversation is like. It's jazz, nigga. It's jazz, nigga. What are you talking about? You thought it was going to be easy? This is jazz, nigga. You don't know where this is going. You don't know where this
Kiss my jazz, man.
You don't know where this is going. This is jazz. I'm just y'all ask Dr. I call Dr. B, man. I got a name for show. I call him back 15 minutes later. Hey, Dr. B, I changed the name. This is the name. This is the
I saw it when I saw it. I was like, hold up, son. What happened?
KT, you seen it, right?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay.
Hey, KT, I just go with the flow. I gotta check. Yo, listen, man. Hey, man, it is what it is. But listen, I'm gonna ask you this. I just wanted to let people know this is like amazing to have this much fun learning at the same time. And that's what learning is supposed to be all about. But anyway, last question to y'all two brothers. High vibrational people, when we get to with somebody, we often, we're talking about love and we're talking about unconditional love. We often want to change them. Now, I seen an episode, me and my lady, sometimes we would watch Kevin Samuels because it was hilarious. We would crack up and then we would debate. We would debate afterwards about the whole man-woman dynamic. It was just hilarious. But Kevin Samuels was interviewing a sister, and the sister, she was making money. I think she was making like $100,000 a year. And she was talking about how she want to get with a man. It doesn't matter how much he makes, because once she gets with him, she's going to upgrade him. So if he's a plumber, she's going to teach him how to create his own plumbing business. So Kevin Samuels said, what if he don't want to have his own plumbing business? What if he just want to be a plumber? Why are you going to change him? That's what he want to do. You doing what you want to do. So what I want to ask you about love, unconditional love, and conscious folks, so-called high vibrational folks, is trying to upgrade somebody the wrong process because we're like, I'm gonna make you eat all the alkaline foods in the world. I'm gonna have you exercise it. Ooh, baby, I'm gonna have you do this, and I'm gonna have you meditate with me. If we're shooting for love, unconditional love, is as a high vibrational person trying to upgrade somebody the wrong process, the wrong step to make, because that's not love at all. That is actually selfish, and that is actually feeding our ego. Please answer that. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, so my thing is, if you don't see yourself with that person as they are at the time, and then that ain't it. You know what I'm saying? We all have potential. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we're supposed to develop and become our greatness, and our relationship and us just being ourselves are supposed to be something that motivates us, because when you look at the whole dynamics in relationship, there's neurotransmitters involved. Okay. Ooh. So on a woman's side, you got dopamine paired with oxytocin. So, you know, back in the day, it would always be a courting ritual that would take place over time before mama gave up them goodies. And it wasn't really on no holding out. It was just because women have oxytocin and dopamine. And when they are dealing with sexual energy, they actually get surges of testosterone that make them aggressive. So they end up falling in love. This is exactly why women ain't supposed to just be laying around, because they catch feelings and they fall in love, and that takes away from them.
Yes.
On the other end, men, they are aggressors and they want to lay immediately, but they get tempered by the woman so that there's some level of commitment, because in the level of them committing, that's how a man ends up falling in love. And their energy is actually a combination of dopamine and vasopressin, you see. So it's the vasopressin and the dopamine with the men, it's the oxytocin and the dopamine with the woman. So then when you have this commitment end up coming in with love and y'all laying together and y'all creating this relationship, the dopamine levels are going to go through the roof. And what is dopamine? Dopamine is a motivation hormone. I mean, a motivation neurotransmitter. Just the relationship in itself and the connection that y'all have in itself are going to motivate the two of y'all to strive to your greatness. And that greatness is supposed to be something that the man sees for himself. That greatness in the woman is supposed to be something that she sees for herself and that they see together. So it should never be no situation like, oh, you know, they look nice right now, but when what's my man Spice Adams behind the tree? I get done with them. they gonna be crystal gem, copper, super sight, third eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you can't do it like that. If you can't see that person as is with no change now, then that ain't the one for you. Then you need to be able to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we feel like we need to upgrade somebody, that could be their downgrade.
Ooh,
that's
interesting. Our upgrade of them could be the downgrade of. Wow, that's interesting. Okay,
it's because that's your perception of what you think they need to be doing more. But sometimes doing more is doing less. Sometimes we need to get into the simples, even with herbal products. Sometimes we need to use one herb or two herbs. Sometimes I remember my first formula, right? My first formula had 48 herbs in it. It was like bitters and sweets and sours and pungents and hot and cold. It was all, I figured just put it all in and let it boil for a while. And I realized I had dry tongue, night sweats. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, because I didn't know. I just figured put them all together, man. They just herbs. So when we attempt to force what we feel is better or worse, we have to realize that, you know, no matter how high you go, there's still low. You know, some people want to get healthy, but unhealth still has them. Some people want to get rich, but poor still has them. You have to, like the brother says, you got to meet people where they are and be where you are and be truthful. But when you get into this thing, I call it constriction. See, check it out. When we try to constrict and restrict people, this distorts the natural flow of love between people and is based on the fear and the anticipation of pain or loss. You want this person to do such and such, and that's the potential you see. And I was into this deep. I always saw the potential in people. But they didn't say they wanted to do this. So I'm pumping them up. I got them in the lab with a smock on. I got them in the studio teaching them guitar. And they didn't say they wanted to do it. So then one day they put the thing down and say, I'm done. I said, well, why are you quitting? I didn't tell you I wanted to do this. I did it for you. I'm doing this to make you happy. I'm not happy. I was happy going outside with my naked feet and putting them on the ground. So a lot of times we have to figure out what does that person really desire? And men, I say the men today should be gardeners. You don't own the garden. You're the gardener. You're like the farmer. The woman is the garden of Edon. She's the garden. She can grow everything. Right. And sometimes the stuff is wild. There's roses on top of the pumpkins, and we can't get to the asparagus.
Woman, I don't know what is.
Because she could grow everything. She's fertile. right? So once in a while, she may ask for a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
The specialist comes in. His job is to listen to the woman's. I might have a little trouble here, so y'all get ready for the frequency.
Oh,
his job is to come in and help the woman meet her goals. To help meet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they flipped a lot of stuff on you. He doesn't own the garden. He has the tools to work the garden. He doesn't own the land. He is here to manage. He's here to help put things in order if that's what she desires. His job is to focus on what she really desires. Listen, see, a lot of brothers, we don't be listening. We be rapping. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I got this cracking. You done drove your car all up front, putting your Mercedes keys next to her so she could see that you driving a Mercedes, which is a piece of junk to me because I used to be a Mercedes man until all of a sudden they started making them out of plastic. So I'm just saying it's all symbols of greatness, but it may not be anything actual that really means anything with real essence. So when a man or a male or a masculine person is in the place to find out what does the yin need, what does the yin desire, what does she like? She's the garden. She's God's den. Find out and listen carefully. Once you have enough of a blueprint for her God power, then you begin, your job is to write on the walls of the temple the law that she gave you. Huh?
That's what they call it now, right on the walls.
Be careful now. Don't y'all be stealing my stuff now. I got it copyright. I got it copyright. Now check it out. What does she desire? Because see, you're using your lightsaber to write something. You're writing something. The female has to ask, well, what is he writing? Some folks is just, it ain't no hieroglyphs. This is just what they used to call it, scribble scrabble. Because when you come together and you have a goal and you both choose, and she's going to actually help him meet his goals too. She becomes his helpmeet. It's a 100% thing, an endeavor to build something. We can't force somebody to build something that they haven't admitted or decided that they desire, that they want. Sometimes, I knew this lady, years ago, she used to come to the studio and she used to clean up the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. That woman she used to clean a glass. She came with her friend. Her friend was, one of our background singers. Mm-hmm. All she did was, well, where's your kitchen? So while we in the studio, she washing dishes. Mm-hmm. The average person, you wash dishes today, you can put soap, little water in there and switch it around and still get suds because they didn't wash it all the way, right? So she was into cleaning glasses. This thing was like polished crystal. So I said to her one day, I said, listen, you should open a business cleaning people's dishes. Nobody cleans like this. Nobody cleans glasses like this. Mm. And she said, well, Dr. B, I don't want to do this to make money because then I won't do it as well. Mm. Right. But then she met this guy and he started writing on the walls of the temple. Now, I don't know what he wrote, but the next time I saw her years later, she had a whole business where she was cleaning people's homes. But I asked, I said, I thought you didn't desire to do that. She said, well, that was then. Then I met Willie and really wrote on my walls and he inscribed something and I went with him because of my own choice. And now we have this amazing business and we're making a couple million a year. But don't force it. Don't force anybody to do anything. And when you show up real. If you like having wrinkled shirts with wine stains on them and you like burping and farting, you know what I'm saying? Don't wait till later on because, people be on best behavior at first. We talk different, hi, good evening. How are you? You put your napkin, which side the fork goes on, which side the knife, or, you know what I'm saying? We're all on best behavior because we're in conscious mode. We're being totally aware and conscious. But then what happens a little bit later on, after y'all been together like 7 times, y'all had 7, temple writing sessions. All of a sudden now, the subconscious comes back on and the real you pops up. You know what I'm saying? You farting and the blankets and stuff is up near the ceiling and they made a bubble because of the gas and you don't brush your teeth all the time. You don't use deodorant. You don't because you create a persona at first to make it look good. I'm saying let's get real. If you don't do holidays and you ain't happy with blah, 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 and you don't want blah, 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 let's be Whatever it is, put it all out front, up front for real. If you say, look, every night at 9 o'clock, I'm gonna be listening to Brother Rich's show. I don't care what you do. Then you need to put that out there, because you don't want to pop up 6 months later and all you listening to Brother Rich, and and they want to take baths and all these. Well, we got to wait till after Brother Rich, because it's the most important thing happening in the world. You see? So what I'm saying is, be real, be honest, be upfront, get down to your source, be the sorcerer. And when you come together, create something great. Start tonight, even if it's with yourself, only for one night. Create greatness. Much love to y'all. Thank you very much. Good meeting you, brother, finally, after many, many years. And Brother Rich, man, we need to talk, because, you something else, man. I don't know what's going on with you, man, but I think you've left the universe. But thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Hey, man, I'm gonna tell y'all, this was like, wow, this was so therapeutic. This was so needed, not only to myself, but to the global community, not just Black people, but people worldwide of all races need to hear this show on love. So I thank you, brothers. Photographing. This is a long-time supporter of the show. He said, I got so much energy from watching the show, I could light a candle with my finger. So, yeah, wow. Shout out to that brother. That's a long time from the Professor Griff Zaza Ali days. That's a long time supporter of the channel. And shout out to everybody watching. Listen, these shows are designed for y'all to help.
Real quick, my bad. Beyond Baker just sent you a super chat. That's the fascia specialist I was talking about earlier. Okay. You want to throw him up?
There we go.
That's what I was talking about, y'all, that will release that trauma. I was talking about you earlier, Beyond, and you popped up. That's what's up. You want to get that trauma released? You want to open up that system of yours? Our body is all about movement. This brother is a master of the movement of the body. Get in touch with him. He's Bjorn to Flex. Go on and put that Bjorn to Flex in the chat, Bjorn, so they can see your IG and they can follow you.
Yeah, and I got a quick question. I got a quick question. Excuse me. Yeah. Brother Rich, are you using some of Brother Archer's here sea moss on your face? Are you putting sea moss on your face? And
I got a new camera. That's why I got
beadless honey. Because your complexion your skin is so clear. I've never seen it so clear.
That's that honey.
I got a new camera.
That camera, don't lie. It's that honey.
He been drinking honey for the past week.
See, that's what it is. Can I make wine with that honey, or is it is it good?
Honey. Him and his wife been putting on each other's face. That's what's been going on.
Let's
we should be asking you love questions.
I will say, Dr. B, it's one of the most. It's weird. It's weird. It's one of the most addictive things that I've tasted in a long. You know how you I've been alive for like I said, I'm an 80s baby. I've been alive for a while, and after a while, you stop tasting addictive things because you get older and you're like, I done tasted everything. This shit ain't addictive. It's just whatever. The honey is one of the most addictive things I've tasted. Like, it tastes good. Doctor. You taste it, you put it down, your body's like, hold up, pick that up, pick that back up. Then you taste it again, and then your body's like, hold up, pick it back up. So yeah, that shit is different. It's different. I gotta give KT that. KT, I gotta give you that. You got that.
And KT, when we get together, I got something for you too, brother.
Awesome.
I got something for you. Only for those.
That love was from the rip. Love is reciprocation. Do unto others as you want done to yourself.
KT,
exactly.
KT, Dr. B got some of the best products on the market. I've been taking them since I've been in Atlanta. I take his products, sit out in the sun, my skin was glistening. I had like rainbow sparkles. They was like, nigga, you went to the strip club. Was like you
serious.
You're like, yo, bro. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Name.
I smell a workshop in the making with y'all two brothers. Something is gonna happen with these two brothers. Listen.
You said something about a conference or expo.
The expo,
right?
The expo is definitely going down. The expo is
definitely going. They already talking about it. Like,
hey, the expo is definitely going down. But these two brothers, listen, family. When I say if you are into health and if you want some help for you, yourself, your family, your woman, brothers, yourself, these are two of the top brothers in the game. Shout out to my brother Yaki. That's another brother that I use his products that I'm very impressed with. These two brothers right here that I'm on the line right now with, they're two of the best in the entire globe with what they're presenting to the world. And I want y'all to truly tap into their products. We have been lied to with all of these products. You know how long I was using Ambi?
Ambi.
When I was young. And what's that called? Olive Olay. What's that shit called?
Oil of Olay.
All of that. Powder from Johnson & Johnson.
Oh,
Nivea.
no. Oh, no.
Come on, y'all. Cut this shit up. We are, Aunt Billy said, we're the dream of our ancestors. We're in a space and a place and a time now where we're getting products that are catered to our genetics, to our well-being, to who we are. It's amazing. I ain't got nothing else to say. Listen, family, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. An absolutely amazing, classic, groundbreaking show tonight. I want to thank KT and Dr. B for joining me on Black Magic 363. Make sure you support these brothers. Before we get out of here, one more time, leave your website, both of y'all, please, before we get out of here, please.
SoIonicBotanicals.com. That's SoIonicBotanicals.com. SOIONIC Botanicals.com. And I'm KT the Arch Degree. You will find me on IG. You find me on YouTube. You find me on Patreon. But yeah, those are my connections right there. Get yourself some stingless bee honey. I got the best sea moss on the market. I could say that. Nobody's messing with my sea moss. I am the Don of the C3 sea moss of the game. Ain't nobody messing with the C3. Rich know it. Everybody know it. Y'all better get yourself some of that C3 gel. That's where it's at. Shoot, my mama introduced the sea moss gel game to the world. I could say that too, man. You know what I'm saying? We got the phytoplankton, the whale food. We got the Sotriol D, the vitamin D3 activated plant-based. We got the Bontana oil. Y'all like my afro, right? Y'all say that's all y'all love talk about my hair, right? If you're dealing with any hair issues, that Bontana is what you need. I don't care if you're thinning. I don't care if you're bald. I don't care if you're patching, alopecia. Don't matter. Skin food, hair food, and you can eat it. And the saturated fat components helps increase testosterone levels. You know what I'm saying? So great products over at the site. Stop by SoIonicBotanicals.com. I have a whole sale going on right now.
And you can find us at elevationtime.com, elevationtime.com. And there you will find love, you will find harmony. There's classes, there's workshops. Make sure you get on our email list at elevationtime.com because we've got some things coming up that are amazing. We'll probably be doing a workshop in the next week or so that will correspond with the equinox, which is this equinox. This is a brand new year and there's a whole new age that's beginning right now. There's nothing ever happened like what's happening right now. So be ready, be willing, be aware, and be wise, you see. But right now, just know that it's love. It's time for love. When you go to Elevation, it's about love. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to purchase anything. Just get into the vibe. Just look at some of the symbols. Listen to the music and get into it. You see, it's all about you being ready to be ready to be ready. So we're not waiting for somebody to tell us, that the revolution is coming. The revolution will not be televised. It's happening right now. But the revolution is a love supreme. A love supreme.
Here we go.
A love. Love is supreme. Much love to all of you. Thank you very much. Big time love to both of you and all of you out there. Thank you for sitting here and being involved in this shift. The shift happens now. Thank you very much.
And KT, Dr. B, I told you about KT's honey. KT, Dr. B's mushroom tonic. You gotta try The mushroom tonic, I take that before all my shows.
You already know the mushroom.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I told you. That's what I'm saying to you. The mushroom tonic, I take the mushroom tonic. They be like, yo, Rich getting high off the mushroom. I'll be taking the mushroom. The mushroom tonic is off the hook. Family, I'm not lying to you about these two gentlemen. So much love. Thank you so much. With that being said, we're wrapping up, family. See you next time. Peace.
Travel light.
Peace.
Peace.